All right, has anyone noticed this trend among some of our government experts lately? It starts off with them telling you a thing. If you question the thing, you will be mocked, ridiculed, and potentially censored. It then turns out later that the thing that they told you wasn't quite as true as they promised you it would be. And when you point this out, they revert to telling you that, well, they never told you the thing that they told you. And then when you show them incontrovertible proof that they did in fact tell you the thing that they told you, they just suggest that you should be mocked, ridiculed, and potentially censored. I can't imagine why we don't trust these guys.
If you're so confused and disoriented that you don't know where you are or where you're going, there are predators of the spirit who are much worse than snakes that are waiting in wait for you. And the probability that you'll move from aimless, hopeless, joyless anxiety to nihilism, corrosive bitterness, and genocidal fantasy in the fundamental extreme is very high. And so that's possession by a predator of the spirit in the desert of the soul. And that's real.
Honey, someone's coming to the house. Someone's coming to the house. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Who are you calling pops? I'm gonna call the pops.
We're recording you.
No. It's okay. I'm just your neighbor. Coming by to say howdy.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, we're not used to people stopping by to say howdy without assaulting us first, robbing us, or defecating on our lawn.
Sometimes all three.
The trifecta. We're from Los Angeles.
Just moved to Texas.
I figured.
Oh, the California plates?
Well, yeah, and the masks. Inside your own house. No one else around. 2022.
We just want to be extra safe.
We feel naked without masks.
We'll probably wear them for the rest of our lives.
We'll be buried in them.
Okay. Well, you seem like a lovely couple. Like I said, I just wanted to drop by and welcome you to the neighborhood.
Why? Do you want something?
Oh, no. I think he's being friendly. People around here are friendly, like we've seen in the movies, right?
I thought that was just make-believe, like superheroes or families that go to church.
No, that's a myth. This is real life.
So, I live in that house over yonder. Name's Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. I'm Tiffany, she, her.
And I'm Steve, he, him.
What are your pronouns?
I don't believe in pronouns. I think they're reductive. In fact, just your asking about it is a microaggression.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay. I'm just messing with you. I like all pronouns. My favorite is you.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Exactly. So, if you need anything, just holler. My wife and I'd be happy to help.
Baby, he has a gun.
I'm calling the cops.
I'm recording you.
No.
Recording
It's
you.
okay.
Good morning. I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending. But first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret, 36 of those chains secret, and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything I did was admitted. There was no law, no regulation.
Secretary Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary,
Nothing was marked classified.
there is evidence of a
Nothing was
tremendous
marked,
amount,
nothing was marked classified.
Now let me tell you what we found.
Oh my God.
110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains
It was a mistake.
have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it
8
make?
of those chains are top
It wasn't
secret.
the best choice.
36 of those chains
I said
secret.
it was a mistake.
And 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it
With
make?
respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. Public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top
It was not a good choice.
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
That one friend that always tells you the truth, that never beats around the bush, never walks on eggshells, that hurts your feelings sometimes, he's not the asshole. All your other friends that sit idly by while you destroy yourself and tell you that you're just fine the way you are, they're the assholes. The best friends you can have in the world are the ones that don't care what you want to hear, they only tell you what you need to hear, and they'll keep it 100% real always. The friends that you hate the most in the short term are going to be the ones that you love the most in the long term, because they have your best interest in mind, they want to see you fulfill your potential and be what they know you can be.
There are two ways in which people are controlled. First of all, frighten people, and secondly, demoralize them. An educated, healthy and confident nation is harder to govern. And I think there's an element in the thinking of some people. We don't want people to be educated, healthy and confident because they would get out of control. The top 1% of the world's population own 80% of the world's wealth. It's incredible that people put up with it. They're poor, they're demoralized, they're frightened, and therefore they think perhaps the safest thing to do is take orders and hope for the best.
When you have a bad day, give up. Go home and sleep. Fuck it. Try again tomorrow. Not every bad day can become a good day. Some days are fucked and cannot be unfucked. When you have a day that is fucked beyond repair, that is the universe speaking to you, sending you a message. Listen to the universe. Go home. Save your energy. Tomorrow is another day.
What's up, man?
What's happening?
What are you doing?
Nothing. Hanging out with you, man.
Hey, everybody out there. Let's see.
Oui. I come from France.
You live
Parlez-vous français?
Count Francois. Huh?
Count Francois Yorge.
Hey, Lily. Hey, Dana. Hey, Connie. Ridge Runner. Lauren. Let's see. Stan. Victor. Dana. I think I should called you out a minute ago. Let's see. Hey, Yorga, you're out there. Let's see. Hey, James. Hey, KP. Let's see. Hey, Mary. Looking to see if I missed anybody. And looks like anybody else that's out there that ain't speaking. Hey.
You got 31 people in here right now, man. That's pretty freaking happy.
Yeah, I think it peaked out the last time at like 90 the other night.
Oh, really? I don't know why I'm not getting it on my computer screen. Let me see what's going on here. There we go. Oh, my God. I look hideous.
You look striped. Hey, Vaughn.
Yeah, I'm from the French Navy. Oui.
Did you put it on? Did you put it on for what the hell, or is that a Saturday night you went out like that?
No, I didn't go anywhere. I don't go anywhere anymore.
What's up, Jeff?
It's just the shirt I had and the hat I had, and I just said, "What the hell?" A beret goes with everything now. I mean, you could do a beret like this. You know, you could bring it. It'll keep your head warm. You can bring it up like this and be goofy. You can pull it all the way back. I love a beret. I love a beret.
Like a pea cap almost too, huh?
Kind of, sort of. You can do anything you want with a beret. They're all right.
How's the weather there? I went out there a minute ago. I was going to try to do something. I was like, damn, it's still hot out here.
It's very humid here. I was going to, well, I needed to cut my grass today, but they said rain again, which makes me go, hell yeah, I don't need to cut grass. But it's also the Sabbath till the sun went down today. So I try not to do any kind of actual real work during the real Sabbath, which is Friday night at sunset till Saturday night sunset.
Yeah, it says it's 80 here out there now. I've been in the house a little while. Probably got too damn hot. I was cooking ribeyes at about, 2 hours ago?
To answer Tennessee Ridge Runner 2's question, I'm not trying to look like anything. It's just I'm a strange person and I wear strange things sometimes. That's all.
Hey, Jerry. Yeah, you could park your your Stingray next to Graz, and they'd be almost identical. Ain't they? Basically everything the same on them.
Very close, except for the back window. Yeah, he had a nice one. It kind of freaked me out because he went out to his garage and showed his vet, just like I did the other night ago, and I'm like, wow, man. They called them C3s from 68 to 82. The short body, he's got a nice one, man. It's a very nice looking vet. Did you know there was never a 1983 Corvette? There's one, and it's in the museum.
Well,
so they skipped the whole year. They were trying to develop the C4.
Oh, retooling and stuff.
Yeah, and it wasn't in time, so there was never an 83 Corvette except for one, which looks like a C4, and it's in the museum.
Did you ever notice, especially in transition years, you remember some of the stuff where they'd have two different styles for that year, where they'd go over, say they're going over from like an 80 to an 81, and they have both of them that year, and you like halfway through the year you get one style, and the other half you get the next. The transition year cars have always had issues.
Yeah, they do. And the very first year cars have issues.
You remember the Camaro? What it was, a 670 Camaro that come out that it looked like it had the taillights. It looked like a Corvette, the two brown.
70 Camaro. Give me a second.
Corvette's got your two little circle red lights in the back.
Yeah, the Camaro, the newer Camaros, they were the C2 Camaros had the same lights as the Corvette. Yep, in the back. Yep, they did.
I've had a few times in the past that I could have got either a Firebird, 67 Firebird, a 67 Camaro, and a 69 Camaro, and turned them down all three times. And I was like, I wish I'd have grabbed them up and just kept them for like now when I wish I had one.
You know what, though? And I've said this before, I know. Back when we were in high school, you could get a really good muscle car for less than $1,000. They were everywhere. They were everywhere. And all of my friends in high school, I graduated in 78. Everybody had a hot rod, and it was nothing to it, Of course, there were people driving Pintos and Vegas and stuff like that, But, yeah, those were the days. And now those cars are worth $60,000.
Yeah, I have a buddy of mine in the 80s I ran with. It's probably 82, 83. And some guy was talking about he had a Camaro he wanted to trade. He needed a pickup. A buddy of mine had an old Ford F100, long wheelbase.
Love that. I love those.
And he's like, well, I got a truck, depending on which kind of Camaro. He's thinking some kind of 70s Camaro, late 70s or whatever. Get over there, and it's a runner. It was, I want to say it was 67. It may have been 69, but it was one that had the long console that had the big U, upside down U shifter in it, automatic shifter.
Was it the Power Glide 2-speed?
It had, I can't remember anymore. I know it had a 302 in it.
But the shifter that came up like this and then went like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had the 302 Camaro motor in it, the one that everybody wants now. But he ended up getting it, and he was so proud of that thing. He didn't want to work on do anything to it because it was supposedly all original. It had a few issues, but he said every time if he went to change anything on it, it would take away the old value. So it's like he had a starter went out one time. He took it off and then took it up, had it rebuilt because he didn't want it.
Yep. There's 2 comments here I want to comment on. Actually 3. KP Heathen says, right now I own a 70 Maverick. I love Maverick. They used Mavericks at the drag strip quite a bit because they were so light. And he says it's got a 65 Falcon. I had a 64 Fairlane with the 3 on the tree.
Yeah.
And a 289. That was a great car. It didn't handle worth a shit. You felt like you were in a boat, man.
Yeah, you go to turn it, and it felt like you were hitting a wave as you turned.
And then it even had the belted tires on it, them old crappy belted tires.
I had a 67 way back, a 67 Galaxy. It was a 4-door. I had a 67 Dodge Coronet. It was a 4-door. But the old 318 I had in that Coronet, it was awesome. I had a 390 in the Galaxy.
That was a good motor. If we keep talking about cars and motors, we're going to run all the women out of here.
Yeah, I know. We got Connie talking about them.
So I want to ask Dana. I knew a Dana from YouTube from a while back, and she lived in Alaska. Is this the same Dana that I think it is? I don't know. I just wanted to make that ask that question. Lily G said she loved Cougar cars. Yeah, I love the Cougars too. It was a fancy Mustang. That's what the Cougars were. XR7.
Yeah, I remember them. The early, late 60s. Basically, it was a remodeled Mustang. Is all it was. Had a different front end and different tail lights.
Yep, had the hideaway headlights and stuff too. The fancy ones did. Yeah, I love those.
Had that rear tail light that kind of blinked in a line.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's how they did. Yeah.
And now, if you went to find them tail lights, if you found originals, they'd probably want your first child.
Man, I had a buddy of mine, and I know I said we should stop talking about cars, but I had a buddy of mine that had, I think it was a 65 Ford Ranchero. So it's based on a Falcon, but it had the truck. It had the truck bed, but it had a 289 dual exhaust and a 4-speed. And we used to drive that thing down to Virginia Beach, man. That car, it was like it didn't look like a hot rod, but man, that thing was a hot rod. It had a 4-barrel on it. That thing was cool as crap. And it was all stock. It was completely stock.
Before I was born, Mom had a 63.5 Falcon. I think she said it had a 2-speed or a 3-speed on the column with a 289 in it.
3 on a tree.
She said that thing, she'd get all the tickets she wanted with it back then.
I loved the 3 on the tree. And I love those things, man. I thought they were cool as crap.
I had a 74 Maverick. That's the one I told you about. It was me and my buddy and 15 girls in it.
Yeah, you told me about that.
That sucker had that 200 Ford 6. I think it was a 206. Sounded like a sewing machine when you floorboard it.
Craigie Baby's here.
Hey, Craig.
I got lucky in a Maverick more than once. I like Mavericks. And the cool thing about the Maverick, I'll tell you something that a lot of people argue with me about. Yeah, I'm going gondola hopping, Mitch Jenner. Gondola down in Venice. I'm a Venetian. They had the bench seat up front, which I love a bench seat. You know, it made things, you know, if you're going to make out with a chick or something, man, the bench seat was the bomb. As opposed to bucket seats with the console in the middle. The console always messed me up. I liked a good old bench seat.
I had a 72 Impala. It was a 4-door. That was my partying car. I had 2 sets of Pioneer 6x9s in the back window. These speakers that mounted up between the seat, the door panel up here, is right there on the post. And then I had dash speakers and door speakers. I had 3 of them equalizer amps on the dash that you had all the things to lift up, and people could hear me coming from a mile away.
Remember the Pioneer KP500?
Sounds familiar.
This was the stereo that everybody wanted. It had a big round dial.
Yeah, it had that big dial thing on it.
Yep, that was the one. They made them in 8-track. They made them in cassette.
I had I don't know if you remember seeing these. It was I can't remember who made it now. I think it was Sony. But it fit under the dash. It had a tuner. Next to it, it had the amp that had 3 little equalizer knobs on it. Then it had a cassette, and it had another hole that was on it. Somebody had a Kraco cassette tape player in it.
Oh, wow.
And it was all fit. It was like a separate unit, and they all plugged in together and then bolted under the dash, and I put it under the passenger side. But it would crank up, but it was a knee buster.
Lily G gets it. She says, yep, that stick shift wasn't uncomfortable. I love a bench seat. I love the old bench seats, man. I freaking love that.
Link's out there, Craig, if you want to jump up. I remember Dad saying, too, he said, you ain't going to like having a standard if you got a date with you. He said,
and you're like, what are you talking about, Dad?
If it's a floor shift, he goes, yeah, you get close quicker. He goes, but if it's on the column, you're always reaching and grabbing and cranking on that thing, and you ain't got time to put your arm around them. Or
the old bench seat. They need to bring them back, man. The bench seat.
Yeah.
Craig's eating a burger. He's always eating something. He's mukbanging.
Yeah, hell, I made 2 big old ribeyes and 3 porterhouse on the grill at 9 o'clock here, which is 10 your time. And I had the air fryer in there going. I like taking and scrubbing down the baked potatoes and rubbing them down with butter and putting sea salt on them and leaving them in there for about an hour.
Damn.
And my son.
I didn't eat anything good today. What did I eat today? I ate a tuna fish sandwich and some bean soup.
I love tuna fish, especially on toast.
Yeah, it was on toast. Mayonnaise and onions. And lettuce.
Yep.
And lettuce.
And if you got a little sweet relish, I like taking it and putting it on one side of the bread, the relish, and then put my tuna on it.
You're driving me crazy, dude. And I had relish, but I didn't use it. I should have.
It adds a little weird layer to it. That, and then a friend of mine's mom used to make chicken salad. She put like apples and grapes, cut them up in it. And then she goes, you want to make it extra special? She did that with the relish, the sweet relish. She put a little on the bottom of the bread and then put the chicken salad over it. She said it adds a little bit of
Yeah. Mitch Dinner said he's been fasting. Mitch Dinner. Now, think about that name, Dinner. He's been fasting for 3 days.
Yeah, I've thought about doing another water fast. It's people I watch here on YouTube, they did one here a while back. They went 11 days fast, nothing but water.
Man. I don't eat well. I don't eat well as it is. I'll eat like one meal a day, and I need to not do that. I need more discipline in my life because nobody but me and my cat, and I need to take care of myself a little bit better than what I'm doing.
You know them old dark spots we get and the skin tags of moles and that. He said all that stuff after the 7th day, that stuff was just falling off and the age spots were going away. He said it did a lot of, your body goes into repair mode with all the water and it starts fixing a lot of stuff.
I didn't know that. Hey, Blaine is here. How you doing, Blaine?
Hey, Blaine.
Yeah, just water. I don't know, man. Craig the Hunter says he eats 5 square meals a day. But being his medical condition, I guess that's okay. I don't want to broadcast what it is.
Yeah, I eat probably twice a day, sometimes 3 times. I eat more when I'm real active, but if I ain't doing shit, sitting around, hanging around inside, I don't really get hungry. I more or less want a snack, and that's they say that's better for you if you eat a whole bunch of little things.
Okay, Craig said it. Diabetes, yeah. I know about that. My son had that. I know diabetes sucks. Diabetes ain't no freaking joke.
My oldest boy in there, the one that's got going to dialysis now, wish we'd have known some stuff sooner, but he, right before he started having kidney issues, he had kidney failure and heart failure at the same time around Thanksgiving. Well, he started taking 3 or 4 months before that, and he got his sugar fixed. He'd been diabetic for a long time, and he was taking that Synachrome stuff, and he took it for a month and a half, and he noticed his sugar wouldn't spike. So he started like eating cake and doing this and doing that, trying all this stuff, drink pops instead of water. And he'd check it a half hour later, and it never would go back up. And I was told it resets your, not your spleen, your the thing that your insulin comes from. Oh man,
pancreas.
Your pancreas. It resets your pancreas and makes it start working. It's a combination of the cinnamon and the chromium. They both adjust the sugar and they get it cranked up. I didn't believe it till he went through it. And he's got problems with dialysis, and he goes in and they keep saying, it says you're diabetic, but every time we check your blood, your sugar's fine.
Hey, David. David, glad to have you here.
Hey, David.
When my son had diabetes, I was working so much that I would check his meter. This is back in the 90s, like once a week, and the average was always good. And I'm like, you're doing good, you're doing good. Then you look at it from day to day, and it was one day it's way down, one day it's way up, one day it's way down. So he was screwing up the whole time. But the average would come out, you know what I mean? Kind of like, okay. And I had no idea he was screwing up that much, but he was.
Yeah, David, good job on your show tonight. I had fun. I went outside to do something. I was like, yeah, it's like going on the 2nd floor of hell out there, and I come back in the house.
Oh, wow, Blaine.
I got the link out there. I'll drop it if anybody wants it to pop up. I know it's on the top. If you're on a phone, most people don't see it.
Yeah, it's right on the top. Oh, there you go. Yeah, somebody else come up. I'm boring.
No, not that. It's just we get multiple, besides car conversations going sometimes.
Yeah, I know. We're terrible about that, aren't we? It runs all the women away.
Everybody having a good day out there. Saturday turned out okay.
It's kind of rainy here on and off, enough to make me say I'm not cutting my grass today.
Yeah, I cut mine. It ain't even been a week yet, and it looks like it ain't been touched out there where I didn't even finish because I knocked the belt off after I got all that work done on that mower and fixed all the stuff. Got out there and I didn't see a stick, and I was backing up, and it went up in the back and knocked the belt off the drive for the wheels.
Man, I went down in my ditch one time with my old riding lawnmower, and hit something that tore everything in my deck all to hell. And when I pulled it out, it was because I live on two different roads that kind of go like an L.
Yeah.
And somebody apparently had blew a belt, and it went down into my ditch, and it was a Kevlar belt. It's made out of Kevlar. So
Yeah.
when that thing got hung up in both of my blades, and I had to replace the spindles, everything, man, everything. It
It
screwed
hit it
up.
hard then when it hit it.
Oh my God, it was god awful.
Yeah, they say it was 105 or 106 here today. The
Really?
heat index or whatever. They're talking about 125 in the next week. But
Good God. Now, do you have dry heat or humid heat?
well, it's 75% humidity right now out there, but it ain't rained in a few days. Last time it rained was when we had that storm Thursday, I think it was, when it put all the power out everywhere. And then when it went away, we had like 90% humidity, 95% humidity, and it was up around close to 100. So it was miserable with no power. Ended up Saturday going and getting a generator.
Dang. Yeah, because you can't even cut on a fan.
No.
Now, when we have power failures in the winter here, it's not so bad because I can create heat. You know what I mean? I can get through that. But we had a hurricane that came through here. I think it was in the 90s. I know it was in the 90s. And it hit in like September, and it was god awful humid here and everything else, and I couldn't even run a fan. I ended up borrowing a generator from a friend of mine that didn't need it because he had power. But it was like a week of that crap, man, and it's just like miserable. And here in Virginia, it gets humid. God awful, nasty. Feels like you're wearing it, you know.
Yeah, you were like walking into a gym shower.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You get any coastal that breeze there, or you're not close enough to get it?
No, I ain't close enough to get that. And I'll tell you, we've been lucky. This spring has been very, what's the word I'm looking for? Forgiving. This whole spring has not been. Sometimes we go from fall right into summer, and this spring was not like that. It was like very, very forgiving, very, very nice. But here in the last couple of days, it's gotten quite humid. I mean, it's June, so almost July.
Yeah, they used to say, my dad used to say, hotter than a June bride in a feather bed. So
I have to remember that. Let me write that down. Wildlife said, and how you doing, Wildlife? He said it's like walking through a bowl of hot soup. Yep.
Hey, what?
Yeah, and if you lose your power and it's humid like that, then the whole inside of your house, because you're going to open your windows, it's going to get humid as hell too, and you can't have a fan. I do not have a generator. I bought a little 2-cycle generator. It's like this big. I don't know why I did. I've never pulled it out of the box. I've had it for probably 4 years. I was just like, that thing's cute, man. I'm gonna get a 2-cycle. I figure I can run a fan with it or something, man. I don't know.
Yeah, we got a Generac 6500, and I had two. Not at first. When I first brought it in, I hooked a fridge and one of the freezers up. Then eventually, I had all three of them hooked up. But I fluctuated them around where I only had 2 hooked up at a time, so I ran power back here in this back room where I had the air conditioner and a fan, and everybody clustered up in this back room, which I got 3 chairs, 2 recliners, a chair, and a couch.
That's what I did. Only opposite. We had let me cut this radio off. I'm sorry. we had an ice storm in 1998 that shut everything down. Shut everything down. But my old house I was in, we had a wood stove. So we all piled up in the den. We had wood. You know, we were fine. And I had kids. And man, I think we went something like 9 days. And I'm keeping it together because I'm the alpha male, right?
Yeah.
But my wife starts losing it. And it was just right at Christmas time too. We had to do Christmas with my son had new PlayStation games and stuff he couldn't play, you know, and everything. We didn't have a generator. But at least we could be warm. And then I found one of those small TVs. Remember those old TVs you could put a bunch of batteries in? You know, this before they changed TV to digital.
Yeah. Had the big C or D batteries to put in it.
Yeah. And my wife was just bitching at me like, that ain't going to work. That ain't going to do no good. Cut on the TV, found a TV station. I remember that movie, Richie Rich, was on. I think it had Macaulay Culkin in it. Terrible movie. But we had all we had was radio up until then. And she was like, watching this movie on this little screen like this, you know, and shut her up, man. I was so happy.
That's like here, had antenna TV on through all that. And the kids are used to the internet. They were back here. Everybody was watching Me TV and stuff like that off antenna. And it was like, it'd have been nice if we'd have had a rotary phone. I could have taught them that. I probably should have sat down and taught them cursive.
Now that's a thing that I'm really sad that it's gone away. How was anybody young going to write a check if they can't write cursive? I guess they just write it up, you know?
That's one of the lost arts in school. They say now a lot of my youngest, all my kids know it. My youngest said they were still teaching it to them, but
that's good.
He's got an old soul. He like a lot of this stuff, like rotary phones. He understands.
My friend up the street from me in the '60s, I was so jealous of him because his dad put an antenna on the top of his house. It had the motor in it that you could like turn the whole antenna, you know, remotely inside your house, you know, to dial in whatever station you were looking at.
Hey, Blackwood. I never had a solar generator. I'm thinking about starting buying a couple solar panels here and there and eventually getting it big enough to where if the power ever does go out like that again, that I won't have to rely off of pole energy.
I like solar power, but I'm still kind of on the fence with it. The guy across the street from me has covered his entire roof in solar panels. And I'm like, that's cool. And it faces it faces south. So the sun comes up in the southeast, goes down in the southwest. And he's dialed in and everything. And I'm thinking, what's that doing to your roof, man? I mean, what if you need a new roof and you've got all that stuff up there, you know? I mean, I kind of want to wait a few years to kind of find out how that's going to play out.
I'd rather build a platform out there and put it on it out of the yard. That way I have it down low. And
that would be the way to go. I really think that would be the way to go. That way it's not up on your roof and, you know, screwing with your shingles and they have to mount all the way through into your attic, I would think, you know, somehow. And I ain't crazy about that idea. It seems like there'd be leaks and stuff.
Yeah, and too, like you get issues, wires, wind, and all that, and then you'd have to get up there. And I don't want to get on my roof anymore. I'm too damn old for that shit.
Me neither. No way. I ain't
That'd
doing
be
it.
okay. Have that out there. Okay, I need a 5-foot ladder to reach the top ones. Okay, I can deal with that.
You know, there's always Mexicans.
Yep.
There's always.
Or the neighbor. The neighbor.
Say it like that, but yeah, they'll come out and work on your roof, and it's just
Yeah, my neighbor across the street, he's from Mexico. He came over here the right way, and he's mad about all this going on. But anyway, he did my roof 5 years ago. He was out of work because his company he was with moved, and they went somewhere else, and he was working back and forth. And he said it got to the point where he wasn't really making any money. He was enough to send home and pay bills, but he had to sleep in his truck. And he goes, that got old, and he was hunting something else. And that I needed a roof, and that the storm come through, and they sent me a check. So I was like, I got something you can do. Go ahead and re-roof my house, and that'll tie you over till you find something.
Cool. They work fast and they work good.
I got a 2,500 square foot house, and I think it took them 3 days. It was a half a day the first day, a full day the next day, and then from like 6 a.m. to noon the third day. And it was him and one other guy that did it. They were quick and they did good. I think they did 5 nail or instead of 3 nail, and completely took everything off. It wasn't a nail over. And
I had a tree, and it was a tulip poplar, which is basically a weed, but it had been 200 years old. It was, I know you can't see my arms, but it's literally was this big around. And I was scared to death this tree's going to fall on my house. And this is back when I was renting this house. I own this house now. And I called him up and I said, man, if it falls this way, it's going into power lines. If it falls this way, it's going into my house, which is not a very big house. Would have destroyed everything, killed everybody in it, including me and my cat. And I said, I know it's hollow on the inside. And I couldn't believe they came out and said, all right, we're going to do it. They sent out a bunch of, I don't know if they're Guatemalans or Mexicans or what. They started at 8 o'clock that morning. It was a guy named Squirrel who was the main guy. They didn't have any ladders. They were climbing up this tree and taking the big pieces down from up top and everything, you know. And I'm thinking this is going to take at least 3 days. They started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and sure enough, it's hollow as it could be in the inside. I was right about that. And so it was going to come down at some point. Damn, my phone's falling out of my thingamajig. And by 2:30 that day, they started at 8 o'clock in the morning. By 2:30 that day, they were done. And I don't mean just done cutting it down. They were done. They had put stuff, my phone's screwing up. They had put the branches in the wood chipper and hauled everything away. So from 8 o'clock in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon, they were done and gone. I was like, holy crap, I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. It was like the Egyptians building a pyramid or something, man, only taking one down and whatnot. And I still have the stump out there. I never got rid of the stump, but it's humongous, man.
Is it stick up high or is it down pretty low?
It's like this. It's an eyesore. But I haven't, I thought about getting a stump grinder out here or whatever, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
You in the country or in the city?
I'm kind of in between.
Are you allowed to burn outside?
I'm about 20 minutes outside of downtown Richmond.
Are you allowed to burn outside? Like
sort of.
Leaves and sticks and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've already thrown a bunch of stuff down in the hole because it's hollow in the middle, and I just haven't lit it yet because I'm afraid it's going to get too close to my boat, or I need to move the boat and do some things.
Pick one of them weekends that you don't mind being out there, in and out, and it ain't going to be so hot.
It looks like a big fire pit. I mean, that's what it looks like.
Mine, I burned a pine tree out here, and it was probably, when they cut the stump from one side to the other, was probably 5.5 feet. Is that big around? It was big as a big round dining room table, if not bigger.
This one is literally 8 to 10 feet across. If you went that diameter across, I mean, this was a humongous tree. I used to call it Godzilla because that's what it looked like, man. It was gigantic. Tulip poplar, it ain't worth nothing. It ain't worth a damn for nothing.
When I set it on fire, the blocks, when a friend of mine come over, he goes, I can cut it down and I'll lay it right across here. Because one way was power lines, another way was a neighbor's yard and another tree. If he'd have had it come either this way a little bit too far, he might have hit the front porch. But he said, I'm going to lay it that way. And he got out there and he went and bought him a brand. He wanted a reason to buy a new steel chainsaw. He went out and bought the saw and he notched it, cut it where it'd fall and make itself fall a certain direction. And it fell exactly where he said it would fall. And he cut them blocks. They were like 4 foot high, and we rolled them over there, and me and him would grab and work and wiggle until we got them up. And we made a circle around the stump and put a bunch of brush and stuff in the middle. We started a fire, and that fire burned for 3 days. And then it
actually burn away the stump?
Yeah. It's got a high mound out there from between as high as the tree was from the root. But all the ash and stuff was there from burning that whole tree right there. It's kind of a little hill out there. I was afraid to try to rake it down because I figured I'd run into some of them big roots, but it's just it's a gradual up and gradual down, but it's probably 15 feet around it, and it's just a small little hill. It might be at the highest point, maybe a foot higher than the rest of the yard.
Yeah, the last house the last house I lived in, we lost a tree during a hurricane, and the girl I was living with was completely anal retentive, and she had to have the stump ground down. And I watched those stump grinders come in, and it fascinated me, man. I mean, the whole machine was remote control.
It's like a reverse printer almost, ain't it?
Yeah, it fascinated me, man. And they got rid of that shit, man. There was nothing but sawdust left.
Yeah, that's one of these guys told me. He's like, he goes, if you want a good retirement investment, he said, get you one of them. They keep you busy pretty much. And if you price it well enough, he goes, you can always beat people out on price.
And there's not like a lot of physical labor. You just set the thing up and then run it with a remote control. It's not like you're. Yeah,
I had one guy I seen do it out over here. He backed up to a certain spot, and then he got the remote out. He turned his truck around, sat in the air conditioner, and looked out the side window and just moved it back and forth. When ease it up, move it back and forth, and then it eased itself up, move it back and forth. And only time he got out was after he turned back around to put the hitch back on.
You know what amazed me too is that same house I lived in then, we got a shed, a really nice shed. And it was kind of a tight place to get it into. And I was like, how the hell are they going to do this? And they come in with this trailer with a shed on it. And then they could actually somehow, I can't remember exactly how they did it, but they could like jack it up and move the back wheels like 90 degrees and make it move this way. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it.
The shed?
I was amazed, man. No, it was the trailer that the shed was on.
Yeah.
They could jack the trailer up and then move the wheels like this, automatically. And then it would move and then turn back this way and then move in this way. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I saw a guy I don't know if he's still on YouTube. He used to do it. Some of these sheds are 30, 40 feet long, and they're 15 feet wide in the front. And he had this little thing he'd ride out there. It looked like a forklift, but it was gas. And he'd ride out there on this thing, and he'd pull up the behind, he'd get off of it, and he'd do something with the front. And he'd pick it up, then he'd go out there and he'd slide this wheel off that would sit up under it, like you're talking about, where they could turn them either way. And then he'd go over the other side, he'd move this arm, and he'd slide this other wheel off to the end while it was under the house. And then he'd reach over and he'd let it down on that wheel, and he'd position the wheel the direction you want to go. Then he'd go around the other side, and he'd just drive it out of the spot.
That's what they did, something like that. Now I'm getting comments of I'm the Hamburglar, or I was a gondola driver in Venice, which I was. Russian Navy. Here we go, Craig. You got to have a beret. Makes you look serious. Makes you look European, non-American, and your boat's probably going to get blown up.
Huh.
Oui, oui.
Monsieur?
Parlez-vous français, monsieur?
Yeah, I remember that. It made me think of Tom and Jerry when I was a kid. That one where that little mouse was from France.
That was Nibbles. There was the little mouse in the diaper. He goes,
Yeah.
He goes, what did he say? He said, "On guard, Monsieur Pussycat."
Pussycat.
Hey, you want to hear a funny? You want to hear a funny story? You remember that song by was it Patti LaBelle or the Pointer Sisters? I can't remember, but back in the 70s, the one they go, "Poulet poupou quaker de bichois, bichois, poulet poupou quaker de bichois." You know, right? Whatever it is.
It means will you sleep with me tonight?
Hey, sister soul, sister soul, sister soul. I'm going down to Florida with my dad. And this is when that song was a hit. And they're playing it. And my dad had been in France during World War II. And so apparently I've got a couple of brothers and sisters over there I don't know about, if you know what I mean. And he got Lady Marmalade. He got the weirdest look on his face, and he looked at me and he said, "Do you know what they're saying?" I said, "I don't know what the hell they're saying. I don't know French." I said, "What are they saying?" He goes, "I ain't telling you." So I never did know to this day exactly, but it had something to do with prostitutes. He knew what that shit was. He knew what they were saying. And he got mad at me about it. I didn't write the damn song, man. Come on, man.
They're talking about eating head cheese out there. You ever had head cheese? It's kind of like souse meat, but it's spicy.
No.
Head cheese is good. I used to get there's a South Louisiana brand called Richard's, and they make like smoked sausage, andouille sausage, hot dogs, and
is that like tripe?
It's where they boil. I think initially they boil the pig's head down, and then they make like lunch meat out of it. It gelatins up, and it sounds nasty, but it's stuff I like. Richard's, but you give me some soda crackers and a big hunk of that, and hoop cheese. Remember the big old red rind cheese blocks that they cut off the hunks?
No. I do know a lot of people around here eat, most black people around here eat chitlins.
You got
chitterlings, but we call them chitlins.
Chitlins.
It's pig intestine.
Yep.
I ain't never tried it, man. I mean, I've eaten frog legs. I'll eat oysters. I'm not like super squeamish, but as far as tripe and there's another one.
No pig butthole for you, huh?
Nah.
I've had chitlins before. I didn't know what it was at first, and I got told, and it was like, yeah, I don't want no more.
Supposedly they stink like hell when you're cooking them.
Oh yeah, if they don't clean them right, it smells like somebody boiling crap.
Oh.
Huh?
God, no, not for me.
Yeah, your casing sausage links and stuff like that. That's what's the casing.
Oh, I know, and then I'll eat a real sausage with a real casing. I'll do that.
You got Richard's by you, Craig?
Huh?
I was asking if you had that Richard sausage, their andouille, and their head cheese, and
I don't know. There's no telling what I've eaten when I'm drunk. I could have eaten anything.
Yeah, we were talking the other day about them pickled eggs in the bars. You remember the purple eggs you'd see behind the bar?
I never ate one.
Draft beer and pickled eggs, and you're good for the next morning. You'll run people out of the house.
They used to also have pickled sausage, I think, in those big jars too.
Yeah, and pig's feet.
Oh God, man. I was eating at work one night, and we're in a factory and we're in a cafeteria, and this black guy I was sitting there eating with was eating a pickled pig's feet, and I'm just kind of watching him because I'd never seen this shit before. And he spit out a toenail, man, and it like bounced across the table, and I was like, no, I don't want that shit. It was a hoof or something. I don't know what it was.
Some of them bones look weird. Yeah, I ain't had them in forever, Craig. We talking about it. I see you put andouille up there. I put, like, when I make my etouffee, I'll put andouille in it until right before I get ready to add the crawfish in it. Then I pull the andouille out. My wife don't like sausage and chicken and seafood mixed together. She likes chicken and seafood or chicken and sausage, but she don't like the seafood with sausage, I guess, or something. She said it makes it too funky to her, greasy or.
Yeah, it's like some things just don't go together.
And alligator sauce piquant.
I've never had alligator. I ate rattlesnake. I ate rattlesnake one time.
Yeah, Tasso, if I can find it up here. Over here where I'm in the edge of Texas or on Louisiana, even with Shreveport, hell, you have a hell of a time finding a lot of stuff. I have to go to Shreveport if I want to find some andouilles because they don't, once you get over here, unless it's Brookshire's, they don't have it.
Connie Carlo just wrote that I remember mother fixing pig feet once and even bought cow's tongue. Yeah, I didn't eat supper that night. Cow's tongue is good. Cow's tongue is good. I've had that before. I think in tacos or something, like at a real Mexican restaurant.
Cow tongue and fried bananas. They call it lickety split.
Oh, wow.
That was a Red Fox joke.
Oh, okay. Like Sham Pipple. Pipple.
I had a buddy of mine, when he made beef tips and rice, that's all he'd buy is a bunch of cow's tongue, and he'd peel the skin off of it and boil it down and cube it up. And when he made the beef tips, you couldn't tell what it was. It's like somebody used prime rib. It was so good.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. It sounds horrible, but it's pretty good. Frog legs, I like them. I've had like you were just saying, crawdads. That's what we call them up here, crawdads. I've had them, and they were okay. They weren't that great. And maybe it was just a batch I got. They were all right.
Yeah, you'd have to come around some of us when I make crawfish, the stuff that I put in it costs more than the crawfish because I'll have oranges, lemons, garlic, onions, andouille sausage I boil in it. I'll put Worcestershire Tabasco, mushrooms. I put all this stuff in there to get my boiled flavor right. Then I'll throw my corn in. Then I start adjusting my oil for the flavor and my powder for the flavor. And then when I pull them off, I let them sit in the cooler and let them soak for a few minutes before anybody touches them. And I forgot butter. I put butter, and that helps them slip good where they don't stick. And hell, I can eat them about as fast as I pick them up.
That sounds good. I bought a bunch of them, and I didn't know what I was doing. I can't even remember how I cooked them. I boiled them somehow or whatever, but I didn't have all those other flavors in there. So, hey, there's David N. How you doing, man?
Hey, David. Link's out there, David. I was going to send it to you, but I didn't know if you were up or not. So, anybody else wants to come up, the link's out. I'll drop it again. But another thing, I had a buddy of mine. He'd save up deer heart and the liver, and when he made dirty rice, he used deer heart and the liver from it to make dirty rice, which dirty rice is kind of I don't know if you ever had it.
I've had dirty rice, but not with deer liver or heart. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's traditionally made with chicken hearts and liver.
Yep. That's what the dirty part comes from, because the ground up and the overcooked liver makes it get that where all the crumb stuff sticks all to the rice.
Ooh.
You ever tried it? Try it sometime, Craig, with deer liver. You got to grind. You got to cook the deer or the liver almost to pieces, but basically what you do is cook the liver down to where it falls apart, chop it up, then boil your rice in it.
You know, Craig the Hunter says Popeyes uses chicken livers. It used to be, and it wasn't on the menu, but you could go to KFC before they had Popeyes and all that. And I only know this from the black guys I used to work with. You go to KFC and get chicken livers, you know, fried up, whatever. But it was never on the menu, and I was like, no kidding, man. And I tried one, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, what I love some chicken livers. I hell at the Berkshire's grocery store around here, and they have a lot of hot food. And one of the things they'll cook is chicken livers and gizzards. And I like the livers better than the gizzards. Yeah. I ain't got the jaw teeth to chew the livers or the
gizzards. They had gizzards too. Yeah, I don't know what a gizzard is, but they had them.
It's the craw of the stomach kind of thing, and they split them in half, and they take, because I guess it's got like a gristle bone, something hard like it. They call it. My dad used to call it the stone.
Ooh.
I like livers. Most places don't cook them right, and they're like chewing on a rubber ball.
That's like an oyster if it's not cooked right.
Yep. I've ate my fair share of them raw and a half shell, but I like them fried. Oyster po' boy. Ooh. Give me some remoulade and some tomatoes on a French roll and some oysters. Now I don't need nothing else.
I went down to Nags Head, North Carolina, the second time I got married. So this is like 1991. And there used to be a bar here in up here where I live in Richmond. Excuse me. And they had these oyster shooters. They would put a oyster down in a shot glass with some cocktail sauce and some vodka. And they were really good. And I really like these oyster shooters because I like oysters. Went down to Nags Head. The place is packed. And we get into this, me and my wife and another couple right across from us. But right outside of our booth was just packed with people. You know what I mean? So the place is just packed, standing up people, everything. And I asked the girl when she finally got to us, I said, bring me an oyster shooter. She said, what is that? Which I should have just said, forget it. But I said, it's an oyster with some cocktail sauce and a shot of vodka in it. She went, all right, let me see what I can do. So she brought one to me, and I downed it. But it was one of those oysters that's chewy. You know what I mean? Like, felt like a piece of bubble gum, double bubble. Yeah. You know? An oyster's supposed to just fall apart in your mouth, man. But I'm chewing on this thing, and I started going, ooh, 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 ooh. And again, you got to remember the place is packed. The couple across from me is trying to get out of their chair because they think I'm going to yak. My wife's trying to get out of the chair because she thinks I'm going to yak, but they can't go anywhere because the place is packed. I never did throw up, but it was a sketchy situation, let's say. There's Hawk.
Hey, Hawk.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Not much.
Hawk, have you ever had an oyster shooter?
Yes.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I lived on the East Coast for many years.
I didn't know that. What part?
Grew up in Norwich, Connecticut.
Oh, up north.
Uncasville.
Okay.
Uncasville. Yeah. It's you spend a lot of time up at the Cape. All over Massachusetts and stuff, and used to go up to Maine to lobster. We lobstered there in Connecticut too, but their season's a lot shorter than up in Maine. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
I've never been up that way.
Rowboat. We went out in a rowboat, pulling up lobster pods.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah, it was cool until you had to row back after getting done pulling up them damn pots by hand. No crank or anything like that. We had to pull them up by hand.
Right.
Yeah.
The only lobsters I've ever seen are down in Florida, and they do not have the big claws.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Still a lobster, but they don't have the claws.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about oysters. Hell, there's a place, it used to be in Shreveport called the Centenary Oyster House. We'd go there and eat. A lot of people, they put all kinds of stuff all over them. And I'd put a dash, just like Worcestershire, Lee and Perrin, and dribble some hot sauce around on it. And each one of them, I'd put a little bit of horseradish.
Ooh.
But then everybody's like, we got to have lemon or lime on it. What I would do with my lemon or lime, I'd squeeze it one hand over the other. I'd get my hand wet and I'd flick my hand over the top of it. So if it kind of rained a little bit on all of it, I didn't put it on a cracker or nothing like that. I just scoop them out, gobble them up.
You know what we did? My father actually had a house down in Nags Head, and we would always do oysters, and I'm not sure why, but around October, November, it was always cold when we would do them.
Yeah.
And we would just put the shell on a grill. And once it started to open up, then you're good. I mean, they weren't really cooked. They would start to open up. Then we'd scoop it out. We had these special knives. They weren't really a knife. It was an oyster shucker or something like that.
Flat spoon looking thing you shuck them open with.
Yeah, those things. And we would either save some to deep fry or just eat them and put them in a little bit of drawn butter, But anyway, the neighborhood, it's funny. My dad was a prick like me. The neighborhood they lived in, my family volunteered to do the oysters, and all the people from the neighborhood were just showing up. It was almost like a cookout,
Yeah.
And we're up there working, of course we're drinking and everything the whole time. And it's cold outside. It's windy and cold. It was November at the beach. And we're pulling these things out and putting them on plates and stuff like this. So this one freaking snooty ass woman came up to my dad and she goes, "These oysters are cold." And my dad was eating an oyster, and he was looking at her and like eating another one. And he was like, "Well, lady, you know what?" And he eats another one and he goes, "You can kiss my ass." And I died laughing. When you laugh so hard, you hit the fucking ground because you're...
That's funny. Craig says he comes from a long line of pricks. That's funny because I come from a line of long pricks.
There you go. Well, we're the short pricks. But it was just so funny how he just looked at her nonchalant and said, "You can kiss my ass." And she went on off to her husband and bitched to him, and he never came back and said anything to my dad or anything else. Man, I'm like, we're up here shucking these things for you to eat, man. Kiss my ass. Get out of here. These are cold. No wonder they're cold. No wonder they're cold. It's like 40 degrees outside and the wind's blowing. It's November at the beach, man. Get out of here.
I presume that you've gone coal hogging.
I never have. I've heard of that.
Yeah. That's right. I don't
know what that is.
You're using your feet to find the cherry stone clams and stuff like that. It's I love steamer clams.
But that's a northern thing, like you said, up Connecticut type of thing. Right?
Yeah, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire. Not as much in Vermont, because Vermont's not a coastal. They do get the seafood in, but they're not big on it. But yeah,
there's another thing they do in California, where they dig something, and it's some sort of shellfish like that, and I can't remember what it's called.
The big clams they put they'll be at the beach and they'll come up and they'll have the tail or whatever they call it. It'll stick out and then they dig them and pull them out. Hell, them some bitches are big as your fist. I forget what they call those. Them things are huge.
Yeah. We went to the beach one time when I was a kid, and we were poor. We went to Virginia Beach for the day, and I didn't tell anybody. I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. We had a Mustang, 6-cylinder Mustang convertible with a 3-speed in it, right? You know, and it's all of us kids packed in there and everything. I'd found this shell. I just thought it was a shell. Stuck it in my pocket. And we're like not even halfway back from the beach. It's like a 2-hour drive. And I felt something kind of moving in my pocket. And I pulled it out, and I think it was a scallop. It was a scallop. And it was starting to open up, and it was starting to like spit and do all kinds of shit. And I'm like, what do I do with this thing? They're like, throw it out the window. I didn't throw it out the freaking window going down the interstate. Learned my lesson that time. Everybody's mad at me and stuff for doing it, you know.
Abalone. Yeah, I got a bunch of those, Craig. I have because I make kits for my smudging for burning sage and incense in.
And then I've heard of people eat.
Hi, Jerry Lee.
Them people eating them conchs. I've heard you can eat them, and they say they're kind of like in between a clam and an oyster. The taste.
They say conchs are really good. I don't think I've ever had one, though.
I haven't either. I've heard of people do it, but
I don't want to eat a seafood that looks like a penis.
they don't. That's that damn conch shell. Like people, you hear the ocean. No, you hear the air echoing in the shell. But hey, Janet. Mouthful of conchs.
It doesn't. Hey, live like you want to live, baby. Live like you want to live.
They say conchs are like a delicacy. I've never had one.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. That they're like in between the texture and the flavor, both between like a sweet clam and an oyster.
Lane said they're the escargot of the sea. I've never had escargot, but I was forced to eat squid. What do they call that? There's a name for that too.
Calamari.
Calamari. Yeah. I went to Nag's Head a few years ago with a buddy of mine. He said, "No, we got to get these. We got to get these." And it was a big plate. It was like an appetizer. And the parts with the tentacles on them, I ain't eating that shit. But the round parts kind of look like chitlins.
Or onion rings or whatever. If you get them at Olive Garden, I used to go in there and order them for an appetizer. You got to eat them while they're hot or they get chewy.
Yeah. And they were okay. You know.
If you get the little ones, if they ain't no bigger than an inch around, they look like little onion rings, and they're sweet and good. But as soon as where it's easy and you don't have to sit there and it's hot. And about the time it gets past that, they get like chewing on a rubber band.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about them. Mitch Dinner said Yorgo would make a hell of a gondola driver. All the entertaining stories, you know. Yeah, can't you imagine me paddling a gondola and then telling stories about chicks in the 80s and stuff?
They got that restaurant up there in one of the coastal cities way up north, and it's like $125 a plate, but it's all you can eat: lobster, crab, whatever.
It's called the Nordic Lodge.
Yep.
Yeah, it's right outside of Westerly, Rhode Island.
I'm crazy about the Alaskan crab leg.
8 hours. You have 8 hours to eat all you can.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Alaskan crab leg.
I think they charge double for anybody over like $275 or $300.
You told me you get charged.
My wife's like, we need to go to Cleveland and see my family. I said, we're up there that close. I'm going to eat a seafood buffet.
In Cleveland?
Yeah, for Cleveland. It's about 14 or 15 hours from Cleveland up there. It is a really nice place, though. Really, really nice design. how they set up their food and everything is, and it's shrimp done about 10 different ways, lobster done about 6-7 different ways, all different types of fish. Anything that can be caught locally, is cooked. But they start off with bringing a huge bucket of clams and steamers to the table, and then everybody starts making their way up to the buffet. But yeah, you get 8 hours of eating, hanging out and stuff. A lot of people go up there, and there'll be like 20 people. They'll lease a section or reserve a section, and about 8 hours. It's a 2-drink minimum though.
I told her that. Then there's that Amish smorgasbord. I think it's in Pennsylvania or somewhere up there. That was another place that if on the way up there, and then a couple of the drive-in and dive places on the way. I had it mapped out. She goes, "You just want to go up there to eat?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I want to see your family.
Janet, butter doesn't make everything better. It just makes it slippery and goes by quick.
I do like that drawn butter. I do like that.
Yeah, like
but,
what was
if you think about prices and everything now, that Nordic Lodge is probably up to about $200 a head.
Probably, because the last time, it was 2 years ago, last time I seen anything about it.
Protection for everyone. SC Johnson.
Stop opening the damn door. All of you, stay away from the door.
And that was weird. The TV just kicked on. Are you still watching this?
I'm watching.
I didn't know it did that, but that's my Fire Stick, I guess. I've never seen it. Usually I have it on.
I think my phone holder is getting ready to take a dump on me.
What's it slowly sliding to the side or something?
Yeah, it is. It's falling apart, I think.
How old is the puppy, Hawk?
Noisy.
Noisy old.
Yeah, what are they, 3 weeks old now? Just coming up on 3 weeks. Another week, they'll get their first shots, and then I get to move them into the kennel, and that's it. That's it.
How many dogs you got, Hawk?
Too many. I got 9 adults.
Damn.
7, or I should say, 3 that are 9 weeks old, 4 that are 8 weeks old, and then 9 that are 3 weeks, not even 3 weeks old yet.
Man, that's a lot of puppy chow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're all German Shepherds?
All German Shepherds. Yeah.
I got a good friend of mine that just lost a fine German Shepherd 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I stay away from the long hair, what they call slopes, because of the fact that they progressively have bad hips, bad backs.
That's what happened to my friend's dog. I mean,
yeah.
He was, let's say 5-6 years old, and I didn't know anything about it. And they just wrote me, sent me a text saying Gus died. And I'm like, what? They said something happened in his back. And they took him to the vet, and they said, we could do all these operations or whatever for maybe $8,000 or something like that, or we can put him down. And we need to put him down.
The thing is, you spend $8,000 getting that surgery done. Then it takes 3 to 6 months for the dog to heal. And by that point there, the dog has been so inactive during that period of time that the issue, starts to pop up someplace else on the dog. So, so honestly, your best bet is if a dog is suffering, you put the dog down. You don't let the dog suffer. No, you wouldn't do that to your child. You know, you'd find a way to fix your child. You know, and yeah.
He was about 125, 130 pounds too. He was a big dog.
Yeah. Gabriel just hit 128 pounds. Baron is 161.
Good God, that's a wolf.
Yep. It's but he is strong. Oh my Lord. I got these they go onto the sports fields and they cut up the grass that's on there, and then they put new sand down, and then they put new grass down, and it's fake grass, you know. And this stuff is so packed with sand. I'll tell you what, Baron grabbed onto that one day and started pulling, and I had a rope tied to it that was tied to the Prowler, my Arctic Cat 4-wheeler, and I couldn't move that stuff. Could not move it for nothing. That dog got in there, grabbed onto that, and pulled, and it started moving. I was like, no freaking way. Yeah, he's got some. Yeah, he's got some muscle to him. He comes in. He'll carry a tree stump by one limb. He'll drag the whole tree stump right in the office. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't want that in here. He just looks at me like, but it's mine, Dad. It's mine. I found it.
Have you ever thought about breeding like a wolf or a crossbreed wolf or anything like that?
You know, I used to have one years ago, and you know, it's the pups tend to be feral, and when you have that kind of problem, it can be, you know, it can be way too much, way too many, way too many issues. Not only that, but they're very susceptible to disease.
Oh,
very susceptible to disease. And you know, it's, even though it, you know, what's funny is if they're out free range living, you know, their chance of getting a disease is around 10 to 15%. But once they come in contact with humans and start living the human canine kind of life, you shorten their lifespan by about 5 years to 10 years.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
There's some guy on YouTube that I can't remember his name, but he's a small dude like me, and he has like at least one wolf. He's got a hyena. They're all tame. I want to say he might have a panther or a lion or something. And he does these videos on YouTube. And the funny thing is, what I never knew about a wolf is they don't bark. They growl.
Yep.
You know, even when they're not pissed off, they just kind of, you know, this kind of, it's like, it's scary, but this guy's just petting it and, you know, doing whatever with it. You know, I don't know, you know, it's almost like the, what was that guy not the alligator tamer, the guy from Australia, what was his name?
Steve Irwin.
Yeah. It's like him, you know, it's kind of like fuck around and find out, man. You're eventually going to get nailed by one of these animals and who would have ever thought it was a stingray?
Taken out by a stingray, yeah. Of all things, got taken out by a stingray.
Of all things, pow, hit him just like that. Pow, hit him.
He was on vacation.
Yeah, he wasn't even filming. He was, he was out on vacation when that happened. Yeah.
I've seen giant stingrays in the wild when I was actually last time I saw them I was just snorkeling, and the ones I saw were giant. They were black and they had white spots all over them, and I can't remember what they were called, but they were one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. There was two of them swimming on the bottom of the ocean. I was in maybe 40 feet of water. And again, I'm snorkeling. I'm not scuba diving, so I'm going down like 10 feet or something, coming back up. But saw these things, and they were just look like birds flying in the air. You know, they were gorgeous. but I ain't getting near them. I ain't doing that. Shoot, I've caught skates, you know, out up in Axe Head, North Carolina. I've caught them, and they're nasty as hell. I think they're in the shark family, I believe.
Stingrays?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure. I heard what family it is. I can't remember what it is. It's sort of something to that order.
They got a shark mouth on them. I can tell you that.
I know I've seen that one girl that does it fishing in Florida, and them catching them and cooking them.
Yeah. Man, I did something. You know how you do dumb stuff when you're a kid, you know? I killed a possum one time with a freaking shovel, and I feel bad about it, but he hissed at me, or she hissed at me, and I was like, felt threatened, and I beat it to death with a shovel, and his eyeball came out, you know, and afterwards I felt terrible. I caught a skate, the first skate I ever caught, and I was a teenager, and I didn't know what to do with it. It's a small stingray. And I took this is terrible. I took you know what a sand spike is? It's a piece of PVC pipe you stick down in the sand to hold your pole, you know? And I took a sand spike and just impaled it, you know? And next thing I know, I've got all these people surrounding me, like giving me a load of crap for killing this freaking skate. I'm like, man, I don't know what to do with it, man. So yeah, I killed one of them too. But now I've got a possum that comes up on my porch. I call him Earl. I don't mess with him. I know he's not. Possums are good animals to have around. You know, they eat ticks. They do a lot of good things. And my cats just look at him like it's just Earl. He's just a funny looking cat, you know. So.
And they don't get rabies.
Yeah. They are more, it's weird. I think they're only marsupial in the United States, I believe. But,
well, armadillos and
that's a armor-coated freaking possum.
Yeah, we used to call it possum on the half shell, armadillo.
Possum on a half shell, yeah. I've seen those in Florida.
Fake scallops are made from stingray.
It's funny to watch a possum get scared.
Yeah, Craig the Hunter, I think he's right. The fake scallops are made from stingray wings or shark wings or whatever.
And if you pay attention to it long enough, when it goes to get up, it looks around and makes sure that nobody's watching it.
That's why I'm not a hunter. Because I always felt bad about anything I ever killed. I mean, I killed a couple birds with BB guns and stuff like that, and I always feel bad. You know, I've never killed a deer. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Kill another animal, though.
There's nothing wrong with that. I've eaten deer meat, you know, but I ain't got the heart for it. It ain't in me.
Hey, detective, welcome.
I killed a snake the other day ago out here. Yep. I was moving some wood around and a freaking snake went. I smashed him with a piece of wood. So yeah, I'll do that. I don't like snakes.
A lot of people kill the good snakes, the ones that they'll chase off or kill or eat the poisonous ones.
I don't think the ones around here are poisonous. The ones I get, I want to say they're black snakes, but the ones I always see are kind of light brown. And they don't have the pattern of a copperhead or anything like that. They're white on the bottom. They're kind of brown on top. I don't know if it's a young black snake or what, you know, which I kind of don't want to kill them either.
If they're a smooth round head, now if snake, usually these poisonous snakes, the head look kind of like a heart.
Or a diamond.
Yeah, they got the little humps around the sides. Right there where the neck connects to the head.
Man, I went fishing one time in the either late 80s or early 90s down on the James River, and they just had a flood. It just flooded through there. And it was starting to recede, and I was like, I'm going to go fishing. And there was copperheads everywhere. And these bastards I was like, all right, there's a copperhead. I'm gonna leave him alone, and I'm just fishing. I'm fishing for smallmouth bass, and every single one of them would come right up towards me, and I'd have to move. It was
Copperheads or water moccasin?
Well,
were they in the water?
They were in the water, and they had those diamond patterns on the back and everything, the diamond shaped head and all that. They weren't. I know we have what's called cottonmouths around here too that are black, but they have the white
water
mouth.
moccasin, cottonmouth thing.
I didn't see any of them. These were all copperheads, and I'd move, and I'm trying to be cool and fish some more, and then a couple more would come up. They were everywhere, and finally I said, they were mean. I mean, they were like coming after me. And finally, I took a big old river rocks. One of them smooth, river rock. And one was out there, and I chucked this freaking rock at it and hit his ass. And he was spinning around in the water, so I must have got him good. And I just went, I'm getting out of here, man. I'm out of here. They wouldn't leave me alone.
Yeah, a lot of your viper snakes are aggressive.
Craig the Hunter said water moccasins will chase you. There was 30 of them chasing me that day. And I don't know if it was something to do with the flood that screwed them all up or they were pissed off or what, but I got the hell out of there, man.
They're a territorial.
And normally I would wade down into the rocks and fish, in waist deep water. I didn't do that day. Oh, they wouldn't leave me alone.
Motorcycle. I killed a car with a moose.
Yeah, you hit a moose. Yeah, I've never hit a deer. I've never hit a deer.
Yeah, I killed a car with a moose. It was a 1979 Ford Pinto.
Damn. Yeah, the Pinto is going to be the loser with a moose.
You may as well hit an Angus bull with running into a damn moose.
Yeah.
Did the moose live?
And that thing just walked off the roads like it was nothing. And I'm like looking at the car saying, how am I going to get there now?
Yeah, I saw a video here a while back that a baby moose, was young, is about the size of a donkey. And a black bear was following it, and the mama turned around and went after that. That mama made that, and it was a big black bear, but it made it look little, and that sucker didn't want none of that mama moose.
No.
Don't mess with moose. We had somebody around here that hit a deer with a full-grown buck. I don't know how many points, but it came through the windshield and killed the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the points went into the driver. Yeah, I know another guy. This is kind of funny. He was hunting kind of up in around the mountains of Virginia, Appalachia, where they just got small towns and stuff. They killed a buck, threw it up in the back of the pickup truck, and we're going to bring it into town and I don't know a lot about this stuff, but you bring it in and you tag it somehow or whatever, Yeah, we bagged this thing or whatever. Officially you get a tag or whatever. But on the way to the town, they didn't know it. They thought the buck was dead, but it wasn't dead. And it got up. And I talked to other people that were in the town just standing on the street. And here they're driving down the road in a pickup truck with a full-grown buck standing up in the back of the truck. And they didn't know it. They're talking, they're smoking a joint or something. And once they stopped, it jumped out and ran away. It was like, good God.
All right. Well, listen, I just wanted to come up and say hey and say hi to everybody in chat and stuff.
It's good seeing you, Hawk.
Yeah, I'm heading to bed early tonight. I got a long run for the puppies tomorrow. I got people coming out to see them in the afternoon, so I got to get them good and exhausted in the morning, so they're not over too anxious when the people come out during the day, during the afternoon. they're like, just waking up from their nap kind of thing, and they won't be overexcited. Makes it easier to deal with them. So
I'm glad you came up, Hawk, man. It's always good to talk to you.
All right, man. You guys have a great night.
Take it easy, bud.
All
right. I've seen that with detecting put up there. He said he's seen a few moose knuckles in my time.
I'm sorry.
So that detecting guy, you find anything detecting? He said, I've seen a few moose knuckles in my time.
Moose knuckles, man. I've never seen a moose. I don't want to see a moose.
He's talking like camel toe, but moose knuckles was even bigger.
Oh my God.
Made me think of what somebody said the other night in the show in the chat, talking about she ain't a lady unless she's 280.
I saw an episode of Survivor Man where he said the scariest thing that ever happened to him is he got run up a tree by a freaking moose.
Yeah, you get around close to where their area is, especially if they got babies.
That's a big animal.
Oh, yeah.
Funniest thing I've ever seen is I watched a video of a guy get down off his deer stand to go get something out of his truck that he forgot. And he goes back to the deer stand, and there's a fucking bear sitting up there in his deer stand looking out his window.
Yeah, I saw one where a guy was in a damn stand that leaned against a tree, and a bear climbed up behind him, and he had his camera out looking at the bear, and he finally turned his head to look at the bear. The bear looked at him like, ooh, and the bear hurried up and shimmied down the tree.
Man, a bear is a messed up animal because they look a lot like a dog, but they have claws like a cat. And they can climb, and man, bears are scary as hell.
Some of your bears are like docile, and then you got some that are really freaking mean.
I wouldn't fool with any of them. They're like, they say if the best way if a bear goes to attack you, run up and kick him in the crotch. That way he won't have any mercy on you. He'll make it go fast.
Did you ever see that thing, that documentary called Grizzly Man? Did you ever see that?
Don't know.
I think it's on, I know it used to be on Netflix. You could probably find it on YouTube now. Just look up Grizzly Man. And there was this guy. He was kind of fruity. I'm trying to think of what his name was. I can't think of it right now. Younger guy. And he was kind of passive and thought all bears are super cool and whatnot. And he kept going up to this place in Alaska that was very remote. And he was filming them. And he got so much freaking really good footage of bears, two grizzlies fighting on a beach and stuff, Yeah. And he went up there for, I think, 13 seasons, something like this. And he ended up getting a girlfriend, and she went up there with him for one season. And they left. And for some reason, they couldn't get their plane to come back to the States or whatever, to, the lower 48. And they just said, screw it, we'll go back for a little while. And a bear ended up eating both of them. And they said when they found him, and he's all in this documentary, and you find out at the end, he got killed. It said all he found was his head, and he had this grimace on his face like, I'm dying, and like a spine coming out of his head. Who is that? That's D.
Hey, D.
Why are you laughing about getting killed by a bear, lady?
Because I did not expect that twist at all. I thought this is.
Yeah, they ate his
I thought
girlfriend,
maybe the
too.
girl ruined it. Maybe the girl ruined the whole thing.
No.
Not expecting that, but
she ran back to the tent, and
Then they
supposedly
got
all of this is on tape, but it's just the audio. And nobody's ever heard it. Well, some people have heard it, but they've not released the audio. And the bear got to the tent and ate his girlfriend too, and when somebody was finally sent to try to find out what happened to them, somehow or another they figured out which bear did it, and they put his ass down. But it was a big old grizzly bear. Yeah.
I want to
And there
say
was
that
pictures-
guy's name was Ben, but maybe not. I just think
No. I forget. Daggone it. His name is right on the tip of my tongue. But
I remember
they,
that guy though. I remember that show. I do.
It was called
I
Grizzly
remember.
Man. And there's many pictures of him standing in the stream, and the bear that killed him was standing like, I don't know, 30 yards behind him.
Close, yeah.
Yeah.
Alaska's not for wimps, man. If you're gonna be in Alaska, you better be.
Yeah,
tough.
you better be. But he was walking up to him going, oh, you know, he had names for all of them and everything, you know. I think they just played around with him for 13 seasons until finally one of them, and this was it was getting to the point of, I don't know a whole lot about bears, but it was getting to the point where they were really hungry. And he was up there farting around, and this bear ate him.
Yeah, I've seen that Cocaine Bear. That's a messed up movie. Y'all seen that yet?
No.
Hunter, you still up to Hunter? What do you got? Insomnia from your keto diet? My husband's doing keto. I showed him your little clip. I seen him on David Devine's podcast talking about all his little snacks and shit. I'm like, oh, honey, you got to watch this. Craig's like, yeah, and you get these and you get that. And those are so good.
Intermittent fasting is where it's at.
Yeah, we
What's that?
Wow.
Intermittent. Yeah, he's been doing it. He's eating at 11 o'clock and 7 o'clock. I know. I'm like, good for you.
I'm sorry, Mitch Jenner just said the guy's name. Timothy Treadwell was his name.
Oh, Timothy, the Hunter. Good to see you, honey. Always good to see you, weirdo.
Yeah,
You know
and he
you're my
got-
favorite
like-
weirdo.
Like I said, for bear researchers, he came back with tons of video of bear stuff that nobody knew about before.
Yeah.
Two big bears fighting. I mean, he got incredible footage. 13 seasons he went up there, and then they got hungry and ate him.
Was he on PBS?
It could have
I
been.
bet he was on
It could have been.
PBS, wasn't he?
It could have been. It was called Grizzly Man.
Grizzly Man.
Jerry Lee says
Yeah,
bear
well-
is my spirit animal. My spirit animal is Daffy Duck.
Look at Irwin. He died
Yeah, I
the
know.
same way.
We were just talking.
I always thought that guy was going to die that way, though. I was like, this guy's a little fucking nuts, you know? He probably shouldn't put himself in those positions. I'm sorry, but fuck, you know? Like the people that went on the sub, if they really did that, they all just happened to be billionaires, not just two of them. They were all freaking billionaires. And they
Yeah,
were
that-
being sued. Okay, they were also being sued. And they were going to go down to that ocean in a little shit tin box, which they did before, I guess. But if you heard James Cameron talking about it, you were
Yeah.
like, yeah, these guys are cocky as shit. You know, they're just cocky.
They say every time you take one of those super deep submersibles down,
Mhm.
that you lose some integrity in the hull. So
And why is
this-
that, though? Is it just because the material gets stretched, maybe, or something? Like, I know, I heard that
more like
too.
com-
But
More
yeah.
like compressed. Yeah, compressed.
Yeah.
Changing so much fatigues it over time, and it's kind of like you ever took a thin piece of metal and bent it back and forth enough, and it finally just breaks.
Yes. Yep. Or like a pressure seal. It's probably not the same thing, but like a pressure cooker seal that gets too big.
That's exactly
My
what
thing is that front window they put on it. That front window. It was 7
Yeah.
inches thick. 7 inches thick.
Yeah.
But still, you know, the more times you take it down, the less integrity you have in the hull. They were going down and it imploded. And
Just
the
like
whole
if you were in
thing-
an airplane, man, and you lost pressure. And I seen a thing where there was an airplane one time where the whole top came off and there was people that had to finish riding that plane to the end.
Wow.
Yeah,
And I
I know
think
what
the
you're
lady
talking about.
flew out of it too. It's like shit, man.
Yep.
You know, it is crazy that you're like that one comedian. Did you ever see that guy Louis talking on oh gosh, who was he talking to? It was one of the greatest skits ever. And I don't really like that guy as much, but he's pretty funny sometimes. And he used to be anyway. He's not anymore, but he was talking about how, you know, we're all at 30, you're at 30,000 feet. We should all be like, oh my gosh, can you believe this? We're flying, you know, it's just, because it is kind of insane, you know, when you think about it. And then the top comes off and a lady flies out and we do this shit willingly, you know. I mean, I fly. I figure.
Sinclair?
What?
You talking about Louis Sinclair?
Yeah, Louis. Yep. He's
Louis C.K.
an asshole, but when he was on a talk show, he was talking about flying one time, and it was really funny. It was a funny little segment, you know, because he's talking about these millennials, and they're on their phone, and and he's like, it's the miracle of flying, and he gets all into it, you know. And he's just like, this is incredible what you know you're able to do. You are traveling at, you know, 500 miles an hour in space.
Good night, Greg. Hey, Lisa.
It's funny. That would be a funny scene to watch if we could find it, but you probably would get copyright struck for it. So
No, but I agree with him because I talked about this last night or the night before. I used to run machines, machines that were 6 stories tall.
What? Oh, like scissors or something? Night the Hunter, love you, honey.
No, but a very, very tall machine that had everything that an airplane has in it, basically. And we ran them 24/7 until something broke and a bolt would go flying off somewhere and you're down, you know, but it's not like a plane went down. But every time I get on a plane, and I will fly, but I don't like it. And my father was a pilot. My father was a fighter pilot.
Oh, wow.
When I get on a plane, I'm looking at every rivet, every cable, every, you know, the tires. I'm looking at the tires before I get on, you know. I mean, every freaking thing, man.
You should be drunk. You should just be drunk. You know, or no, don't. Sobriety's king. If you quit
I have drinks. Trust me, I have drinks. But I'm still looking at everything that's around, you know, that can fail, like that bolt on my machine that just goes, goes flying off, you know. Because it could happen because airplanes, they keep those going 24/7. They fill them up with gas and send them on back out again, you know.
They got to drug me up to put me in an MRI, so.
Yeah. When did they retire him? After 30 years or so? 20 years?
I don't know.
Mean,
I ain't got a clue. But I do love an MRI.
Hey,
girl. I do love an MRI. I've had, I think, 2 MRIs.
Love an MRI? You freaking weirdo.
A lot of people get a lot of people get claustrophobic in those things, man. I fall asleep, and when they pull me out, I'm like, put me back in, because I was getting the best sleep of my life in this damn thing.
You know, that's what happened to me when I got my MRIs up there in the hospital. I fell asleep in the machine.
Hell, I get stuck. My shoulders and stuff, it pushes me in. Basically, I feel like I'm going in a birth canal.
The DC-10 flew for 45 years. Wow.
Yeah, the DC-10 was a great airplane. So was the DC-3. DC-3. My dad almost bought one of them when I was a kid. I was like, buy it. Get it.
Y'all tell me if you think I ought to add this to my intro.
When you are raising your children, don't make the same mistakes that your parents made with you. Make new and better mistakes. Fuck up your children's lives in a way that is unique, so that one day when they hate you, at least they won't say that you are unoriginal.
I agree. I concur. Hey, Andy. Guardsman. Lots of people in your chat tonight. Cool. Good to see Auntie. Hey, Auntie and Jack. Oh, I ever tell you about when I was wheeled off on a airplane ride? When I passed out and all of a sudden I woke up and I was in this nice Indian lady's lap and she was stroking my hair. Right before that, the last thing I had heard is there a doctor on the plane? And he had a couple Bloody Marys and too many edibles. And I was severely dehydrated. And
they gave me some kind of super Xanax. And they told me I had Xanax at home, and I went in there and they had 2 of them for me to take. He said, take one and wait about 10 minutes, see if you start feeling anything. And I didn't feel nothing. He goes, here, take this other one. Waited another 20 minutes, didn't feel nothing. So I went out to the truck. Vicky was sitting out there. And I said, give me one of my Xanax. And I had the blue ones, and I took one of them because he told me to go take one. I come in there and sat down, and they're getting the MRI ready for me to go in there. And I went in there and sat down, and about that time I felt something hitting. Then I felt a few minutes later something else. And by the time they got me sitting on the table to go in the MRI, they had to do me backwards too. They had to put me feet first.
Oh,
And,
oh no. No wonder.
She goes, you want some music? I said, sure. She goes, what do you like? I said, old rock and roll. And she put Van Halen on. And she put them little earphones on me and slid me in. And I don't even remember her starting it. The next thing I'm out there, Charles. That lady trying to finally, I woke up and I'm like, well, you going to start it or what? I guess I nodded off. She goes, you're done. I'm like, oh, okay. And I walked out of there. Vicky laughed. I was slobbering on myself and I was all walking noodle-legged. And I come home and slept for a day and a half.
Chuck is so big, they put him in feet first and his head was still hanging out. Chuck's like 6'7", man. He's like 6'7".
You're tall too, aren't you, Yoga?
Nah, only when I'm in my comic books.
No, I'm a short man.
I'm not short. I'm like, I used to be 5'10". I think I'm like 5'9" now. Everything's got compressed, gravity and shit.
Your average height.
Yep, just average, huh?
Yeah, average.
But that doesn't mean that's for everything. That's just height. That's all it means. People get all weird about shit like that. How big are your hands? How big are your feet? How tall are you? I don't want to know. I'm just saying.
I've got some long fingers, baby.
Are you a pianist? No, you're a guitarist. You don't play the piano. Hey, Vicky.
I know how a piano
Hi,
works.
Vicky. How are you, honey? Good. Good to hear you. Surely you can't be serious. That's from Airplane. Yeah, I don't like flying either, man, but I will do it. I figure I'm in the flight path, They could just crash in my house too. I mean, I could die in an airplane. You could avoid it, but destiny is destiny. Your time is your time. No matter what. That's my honest belief. So I don't avoid things if I need to do things, but I have family that will not fly, that have never flown, and they will never fly.
But think about this. Those poor people on that sub that we just lost. I'm glad it went like in an instant they were gone, as opposed to sitting on the bottom and suffocating after 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, they let us think, even though they knew that it was already done.
I don't think they knew a thing. I don't think they knew a thing.
Sunday they knew.
I think it just pow.
I think that it was reported that the Coast Guard, who knew it? Not the Coast Guard, the Navy knew it and didn't tell. They probably both knew it, but they're blaming the Navy. They knew it on Sunday. You didn't hear that? I bet people in chat.
I did hear that, and they said it went all the way to Biden, and Biden said, "Don't say anything." Now I don't know why he did that, but I will tell you this.
You don't know why, Yorga? Come on, Yorga. You're smarter than that. Come on.
There's hydrophones.
You don't know why?
There's hydrophones all over all the oceans. I mean, the Indian Ocean, and we are, as the United States, are monitoring all this. We hear every sound in the ocean, and and sound travels 5 times faster in the ocean than it does in the air. And yeah, they knew. Well, you tell me why would they keep that privy for 5-6 days? I don't know. I don't get that. If they heard the implosion.
Well, the theory was because of the news that came out this week about Biden and in the articles of impeachment and the big news that was happening, that the theory was that he saved it for look over here, don't look over there. I don't know. I'm not saying I believe that. I don't really know why they do what the fuck they do. You know what I mean?
That does make sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Right. They're like, hey, never waste a good crisis. By golly,
they have
this is
said that
perfect.
too.
Yeah. That was Rahm Emanuel from my old, Southside Chicago dickhead. He's a dickhead. You know Rahm Emanuel. Haven't seen him in a while. Where's he been?
Haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know where the hell he's been.
No,
He's
or
hanging out-
Wiener.
He's hanging out with Anthony Weiner.
I was
Yeah,
just thinking about that other dick.
They saved hearing what happened to that sub just because they wanted to draw some of the attention away from the Hunter stuff.
Okay, and then the Simpsons, and then the Simpsons is freaking predicting it too. What the hell? Hey, Agent J, taco.
Hey, Jay.
Right? The Simpsons did it again. What the hell? Someone's time traveling in the Simpsons, right? They've got to be.
Yeah.
They're doing it. They're going back in time.
No, but that makes. Thank you, Dee. That makes
of course
perfect sense to try to, like you said, like a magic trick. Look at this hand, not this hand.
I'm trying to think who to give credit for. I'm sure I watched a video today that was, was some streamer that pointed it out to me. I sure didn't think of it myself because it's all confusing, and I never know why they do what they do. I
It's
really
shell
don't.
game.
It
Just like
is.
the old shell game. You know?
Right, or whack-a-mole. It's either whack-a-mole. What's a good distracting game? It's not Tetris. It's like Space Invaders. Well, I don't know. I'm going way back now. I'm going to like, who had an Atari, what was the first one? We had an Apple. We had apples in my grammar school when they first came out. Was it Alfie? No, that was a robot thing. I'm short-circuiting. I'm sorry. I just had a short-circuit brain. My brain has been misfiring for 3 days. I've been hyperactive. Like, I am tripping over my own thoughts. I'm just...
I had the first Atari when it came out, like in 1980, and it was the most disappointing thing I ever had in my life. Playing Pong.
I loved my Atari. I could kick some ass in Space Invaders, and
I like that robot one. I can't remember what it was called, but it was robots in the rooms. What was that called? Robotron or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Sell it.
Yeah, did you? I sounded real bitchy. I was on a rant stream earlier. I do apologize. I'm
Yeah,
so
they-
sorry.
Apologize.
I had a centipede machine in the 80s somebody gave me.
Yeah,
That
those
was
are
a big-
fun. I love Centipede, man. I
Big
do.
stand-up unit. I had it in the extra bedroom, and people come hang out. Everybody play it.
I would play it. I play every game. My whole family, we play every card game. We play what's that one with the bean bags and the cornhole? They play poker. What?
Yeah, I don't know what the people should have rethought that.
Yeah,
people
cornhole
should-
is not the right name.
People should have rethought that. That's like, yeah, that sounds like what they do in jail.
It sounds bad. It sounds like glory hole or something, It's like, what the fuck? Who came
I
up with
just-
this name?
I can just see walking up to a bunch of men and say, "You want to play cornhole?"
Cornhole? Cornhole.
Go to a certain bar and say that.
The secret to cornhole is throw it really up high. I had to be taught this. because I'm trying to lob them in there, man, and they're just bouncing off the thing, you know. And my buddy said, "No, don't do it like that. Throw it up really up high. You have to lob it and try to get it right down in that old hole."
Kind of like you're tossing a underhanded, kind of like you're tossing a damn softball.
Exactly, Chuck. You got it.
It's fun. There's something therapeutic about it. It's like you get the bean bag in your hand, squeeze it a little bit, and yeah. Sometimes you go really high, but it's interesting because it has you use your mind and your body, and you're trying to predict where to go. There was so much loss during COVID when we stopped gathering because a lot of that things we really took for granted, it was so fun. I grew up in the neighborhood. We all had bikes, and we all hung out together and played horse and pig and all these games in the alleys and in the parks. We were never home. Home.
The thing that pissed me off the most about that, what you were just talking about, was the social distancing. You got to be 6 feet away from everybody. I'm like, man, ain't going to do nothing. This mask ain't going to do nothing.
I love that they put directional arrows in the grocery store. I walked any way I wanted to go in. Somebody say something, I just cough once or twice and they'd clear out.
Yep.
I never followed those arrows if I was able to shop.
Get in line and you're 10 people back. Just cough a few times. People forget things and they'll go back to the end of the store.
Yeah, they don't like that. They did not like that if you coughed. I remember telling a lot of people, smoker's cough. It's a smoker's cough. I'm not sick, because I got that always going on, It's like,
I just like how fast they whipped all them signs out.
I refuse to wear a mask.
Are you ready for this or what?
Yeah, like Walmart, before they even made it, they had the damn signs for it.
Yeah, and that shit on the floor and everything else.
Right.
I was like, that ain't right. You can't whip out that many signs for that many stores in 2 to 3 days.
When Walmart's part of the government, they know already.
I used to embarrass Vicky back, what was it, up into the 90s, I think it was. Might have been into the 2000s. I'd still walk into a store with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth.
You know what I used to do? You know what I used to do to piss my wife off? She always had this habit, which pissed me off. We got out of the car. We're together. We should be walking up together. She would just haul ass into the store. I'm like, all right, I'll get you back. I'd get in one of those little freaking Rover things, Well, there ain't nothing wrong with me, man. I'm doing donuts in it and everything else. And she'd be on a pickle relish aisle or something. I go flying by. She's like, Gary, get out of that damn thing. I'm like, no, hell no.
Vicky could always find me when we were young because I'd be on another aisle or something. I'd be carrying on, acting up. Don't let me go
It doesn't take long. Well, it takes not too long into marriage before most women I know and hang out with, we don't shop with our husbands. I'm not that kind of girl where I drag my husband to the store with me, but he'll shop separate. We both have our days that we seem to grocery shop, He'll shop.
It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea.
It's no fun. Or shoe shopping. I mean, we quit. He stopped shoe shopping with me way early on. I mean, he's definitely suffered through a couple of times with me, enough to know it's a struggle, and it's real.
In the late 90s, early 2000s, when me and my brother and stuff, when we used to go with my parents shopping, we'd wander off on our own. And the only way we could know where my dad was, because you'd be looking for the tallest person, you'd be looking for the top of his head.
Yeah.
Like, Dad's like 3 hours over. How do you know that? Because I can see the top of his head.
Yeah.
Are you tall like your dad?
I'm 6'4".
That's tall.
Yeah, that's tall.
One of my younger brothers is pushing 6'7". He's 6'6".
Y'all are like Bigfoots.
Let me see if I can find that picture.
Yeah, my daughter's 5'11".
She's bigger than me.
I feel like a freaking pea pod in a Jolly Green Giant commercial.
Yeah, I'm a 1.5 taller than Vicky.
Yeah, I know that.
That's all right.
She's
When we were
She's short.
That way she knows who's boss.
we were kids, and we'd all of us kids would go to the store with her. We'd all be standing around her, and everybody'd leave her alone because it's like she's got a squad of bodyguards.
Yeah, that was for you, Yorga. You know that was for you, honey. Our
That's
guys
okay.
are boss. We know that. Our guys are boss. Sure they are.
Funniest thing is they've actually mistaken my sister for my mom, and my mom is for my sister.
Yep. That happens when you're shorter like that.
I told my daughter she wouldn't allow wearing high heels around me no more because everybody would think she was the mom.
Here's a picture. Here's a picture of me and the boys.
Which one's Wyatt?
He's on the side right under the sign, right next to me.
Yep. On your left on the picture.
And Cody's the one on the other end. That's Andrew in the middle. He's taller now. I don't know how tall he is.
I don't know, about 5'9", 5'10".
He's
I'm
about
still the same height, but I've thinned out.
Yeah.
But you know, I've got a friend that's he's 6'8", and his life is kind of hell because he can't fit into a Corvette. He can't, there's things he can't do because he's so tall. But there's part of me that I wish I was that big,
No, you don't.
It's hell finding clothes that fit right.
Yeah, everything is high water. All your shirts you get, you straighten your arms out, and the ends of the sleeves comes up to your elbows.
And the shirts come both up. And the stretch, your shirt goes up.
unless you get fitted shirts, whatever they call them.
Big and Tall Man store.
Big and tall.
I think they still have those. They used to have one of them around here, but I don't know if it's still around. A Big and Tall Man store. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking expensive though.
Probably is expensive as shit.
Yeah, you're buying the clothes by the foot.
You're buying enough material to dress a 4-person.
Here's when Andrew was little. That's all them together.
Man.
Andrew, just a baby. He'll be 17 Wednesday. Oh my God, 17.
Yep, it's the age that get it sure.
And there's my middle son, the one that says got the fear shirt there. This is his hair now.
Wow.
Notice they're all redheads.
I did not notice that.
Can't see it in this one, but
No.
this one you sort of can.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
All of us kids are redheads except the youngest.
Andrew looks like Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
My granddaughter looks like me.
That's cool.
See if I can find
It's
it.
enough to stay together with the family, man. Congratulations. It's enough just to keep the family unit strong, isn't it? Amen. It really is.
Girl, that was the first picture of all them together in I don't know how long.
That's awesome. Where are we going, Yorga? Show us around, baby. Let's see what you got. I love your house. It's beautiful. I love all the
What do you
wood.
want to see? What do you want to see?
I don't know, something cool. What's your favorite part of your house? You got your music room. I want to see your guitars
my
and stuff. I
bed.
know you're in love. Well, we don't want to see little Yorga. I know that. So just let's
He's doing the Blair Witch walk.
Let's just see your look at all that wood. Ooh, there it is. That's the freaking room I want to be in.
No, there's
Oh
another
my
room.
gosh.
There's another room like this.
shit, Yorga, look at that.
This is
That clear
what
guitar. Oh
this
my
is what a
God.
house of a failed rock star looks like.
Oh, honey, you're not a failed rock star. Yorga,
There's a 100
don't
watt
say
Marshall.
that.
There's a 100 watt Marshall right here. There's another 100 watt Marshall right behind it.
Party at Yorga's, everybody. Let's go.
I made that guitar, that Telecaster.
That's beautiful.
This is 2 40 watt Marshalls, 2 40 watt Fenders, a load of guitars that I need to really go through. Here's my workshop.
Wow.
Tons of more guitars.
Oh yeah, look at all that.
Some Nazi stuff.
Now, slow down your camera, honey. Slow down your camera for me, okay? Hold it still for me a little bit. What's that? What's in the frame? Go up to that a little more. That looks cool.
It's a bunch of Nazi stuff that my dad stole from World War II.
Oh, I see.
I'm not a Nazi, but
Gotcha.
Spoils of war.
Gotcha. Sure.
Stuff. Just stuff everywhere. Hold on.
Pretty organized though, really, for a bachelor.
Yeah, for a
Oh
bachelor.
wow, it spills over. It spills
Twin
into this
Reverb,
room.
Telecaster, cool Stratocaster.
Oh my God. How many guitars you have? 30,
I don't
40,
know.
50?
I think about 30.
Yeah,
There's a cool FD. There's my pedals.
Wow.
More guitars.
Yeah, I've heard about your music room, but I never got to see it. Thank you for showing me that. That was incredible.
It's the room of a failed rock star.
No, you shouldn't say that. It's not true. You had a lot of good times, man. You did a lot of good shows.
Yeah, I did. Here's my humble kitchen.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's a bachelor house. You know.
If you'd have jumped on that bus with Mackenzie Phillips, it might have been a different story, huh?
You never know. I still wonder about her.
What's in the corner? Is that a fireplace thing? In the
It's
bottom?
it's a what do you call it? Gas log.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. That's cool.
That's
Yeah,
when
your house is very nice, Yorga. It's very nice.
when a gay dude has sex with another gay dude and he farts, it's called a gas log.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I know, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
here's
We
a
know
picture
that.
of
I
you.
know that about you.
Anyway, yeah, I've got a ton of stuff that I don't want to sell anything. I don't want to sell nothing.
D, here's a picture of Andrew and Vicky together.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Look at that. So pretty. He's a cutie.
Yeah. You're a lucky
Is he
man.
the tall one that was wearing the shirt that said something fear?
No,
Is that
that's the youngest. Him. That's
Cody? That's his Cody?
Cody's the one that says fear. That's Andrew in the front there. The little one. He was like 7 or 8 then.
Oh, wow.
6 or 7.
Yeah. He's a little guy.
Then now that's him right here in the purple or maroon looking sweater.
Oh, gotcha. He's your baby that's going to be 17.
Yeah.
And what's the one next to him? Brother's name?
That's Cody over. That's the one that had the fear shirt and the other one.
Yeah. Okay, I got it now. And then what's your daughter's name?
Amanda.
Amanda. And that's it. You got 4 kids?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll be right
all
back.
But, all but Andrew, somehow they all got named after Western stuff. You got
And they all got red hair. I'll be right back.
Charlie Wyatt and then William Cody. And then Amanda Nicole, she was named after Amanda Blake off of Gunsmoke, Miss Kitty.
Oh yeah, I knew the name, and I couldn't put a face on it. Yeah, Miss Kitty.
Yeah, I wanted to name one of them Dallas, and Vicky's like, "Fuck no."
There's a kid that lives 2 doors up from me, and his name is Dylan, and he was named after Matt Dillon. Yep, no kidding.
Yeah, I have Blaine, everything I get in small. I held my full-size GMC truck out there, seat all the way back. No mercy for anybody to sit behind me. I have to let it up to let my youngest boy back there.
Chuck, we could possibly get you in my vet, but we'll never get you out.
Yeah, remember I told you I used to work on Euro cars. I was a Euro mechanic or a Euro technician. They don't call it when you work on Mercedes and Jags and Ferraris. Now, you ain't a mechanic anymore. You're a tech. But it was a 1971 Mercedes 550S. You remember the little two-seaters?
Had the pagoda top.
Yep.
Yep.
It was like a wagon with a V8 motor in it, basically.
How'd you get out?
Had to roll. I got in by sticking one leg in around the steering wheel, leaned down, and then I scooted in sort of, and I had to grab my knee and pull it up to my chin and then put my foot in the floorboard. But when I got out, because I drove it around the block, and it's like I had both feet in a 5-gallon bucket and tried to move them around is what it felt like. When I turned around and got back, I had to lean out, crawl on my hands, and slowly pull myself out of there to get out of it.
You know, and again, I'm not a big person, but there's a technique for just me getting in the Corvette and getting out. I have to have both feet on the ground, put my butt in the seat, and then pull both feet up and swing around and get my feet in. And to get out is the opposite. I open the door, I got to swing my butt around, get both my feet on the ground, and then get out. And again, I'm
Good night, Jerry Lee.
made.
Night,
Love
Jerry.
you, honey.
I'm made for a Corvette, but man, it's still, kind of like, it's a death machine, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
man.
like,
I
that's
think
why I drive like a grandma in that thing, man. Man,
When what was the first year Stingray? It was 67, wasn't it?
that's a good question.
It was still the different body, not the same as yours. So it was a different.
Well, the first one was 53 to 62, and then in 63 they came up with the split window and kind of the short body, and that went from 62 to 67, and then in 68 they made the one like I've got, and that went on to 82. That went on to 82. There was no 83 Corvette.
It was a 67. They had the chrome looking front around the lights and stuff in the front. It like had a border around the front by the bumper or something where the lights were or something to that order on it. But anyway, it was Harvest Gold. And I was looking at, we just got married. And the guy at the lot, I just saw it. They were moving it around. And it was owned by the guy that owned the car lot. He wanted a pickup and he didn't, because this was like I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was a Oldsmobile and something else dealership, and he had that Corvette, his personal cars he put on the showroom and sell. And he had that vet. This is in like, what was it, 86? And I just come in here to look at it, and he seen me pull it in my truck, and he goes, "What are you looking at?" I said, "I was just checking that Corvette out. I always wanted one." And he goes, "You want to trade that truck in?" I said, "Well, I still owe money on it." He goes, "Well, I need me a good truck to have around here." And he goes, he liked the radio when I pulled up, but I'm like, "Yeah, let me check it out." And he goes, "Let me check your truck out." He drove it around and come back, and he goes, and he had a salesman ride with me, and it had the 427 4-speed in it.
Oh God, death machine.
And
you'd have to pull the T-top off so your head can hang out.
he had them off of it because it was on the showroom, but I didn't even think about that. But I was young then, and I had sort of had issues getting in it, but I had more limber in my legs to get in and out because I was still in my 20s.
More flexibility.
And I kind of romped it a little bit in the parking lot, and And I looked at the speedometer. I think the speedometer's had 160 on it. And I asked the salesman, "You think he'll do all of it?" And I said, "You think we can make it that fast before we hit the red light up the road?"
Yes.
He goes, "You can go and see what it'd do on your own." And he goes, "Stop a second." I stopped, and he stepped out of the car. He let me go off in it by myself.
Okay, if you're gonna talk guy talk and cars and shit, I gotta show you something that we got today to use because we were deciding if we're gonna buy it or not. Our friend, I think he made this thing. He put this thing together, and it goes in the back of our truck, and it's a lift thing, and he's selling it for $3,000, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna buy it because see how it fits in the truck like that?
Yeah.
And it lifts up. And so we're working on like a woodshed spot right here. And my husband and I, we've had to rent a dump truck before. We do have a Bobcat and we have a backhoe attachment. So he was able to go get all that rock and dirt and shit. But we've never had anything like this before. So now he'll be able to go to the dump.
Yeah,
And
it's a dump truck body. Yeah, dump bed. That's what makes it.
yeah, it's a dump bed. Yeah. It's a dump bed. So we lost a rock. I told him, and I made a video for him too. I said, "You need to go get that rock." It's just fucking with. You need to go get that rock. But yeah, so that's fun. I love machinery too. I drive the Bobcat, but I don't drive the backhoe. But I'll operate the forklift and.
Is that permanently in the bed once you put it in it, or
no? You can take it out. It's bolted in. It has. He told me it's bolted in, but you take it out. We'll take it out with the forklift. The forks. Dump bed.
Yeah, it's all hydraulic. So you have to have.
It's got a battery too. He came down and swiped my jumper cables out of my car because he had to. He wants to get it attached. Yeah, to the truck battery. I think it has its own battery or something. I don't really know. We had these two young guys up here today, and they were all in heaven with this thing. They were all just freaking getting rocket and just.
Yeah, that's good for anything. Yay. If you go get firewood or any of that stuff, you can dump that firewood quick.
Hell yeah, I can go make money now. I mean, I can go deliver firewood.
Yeah, and you ain't got a hand take it out. Tell them load it up, and I'll take it. Now you get there and
but we don't sell firewood. We need all the firewood we get. I don't sell firewood.
Hell, if you lived around here, you could have all you want. There's oak everywhere where these trees fell and they cut them up. There's shit piles of wood all over the sides of the road.
I always let my tenants get firewood too, but my neighbor who has twice as much land as I do, he has 38 acres. We're on 18 acres. He has 38 acres, and he does not let his tenants get firewood off the property. He doesn't let them do laundry on their property, and he charges top dollars for these piece of shit houses. I'm just like, wow, it's fucking crazy.
Hey, B. It's something like that too. You can always make side money if you wanted to. Go have somebody load something, you could dump it for somebody.
Yeah, if everybody wasn't so creepy around here. But I could, you know what I mean? If I could definitely, I'm ready to landscape. I mean, I've waited 20 years to be able to really landscape, well, I don't know. We're still building shit too. We'll always be building shit. The place was just neglected, and it wasn't designed properly for erosion and all the roof rainwater and blah, blah, blah. It's all boring stuff. But basically, why we bought that Bobcat in the first place is because we have so much metal roofing on just two houses. They both have just an enormous amount of roof, and they all go down the same spot. And the matter was either we had to hire somebody to come along and build a retaining wall. And one like that, we got a bid for it, and it was like $40,000 for them to just come and do rock. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And it's like, well, shit. Well, when we built the barn, we didn't even have that Bobcat. We filled those shovels by hand. That we had to hire a backhoe guy. Everything we had to do, we had to hire. And then it cost us $175 just before he even got out of his vehicle because he had to drive up the mountain to get here. Had to cost him gas and his time, you know what I mean? So
That Bobcat, you can get all kind of attachments for it too.
I wish we bought a trencher. We got an auger and we got the forklifts when he brought it because we watched how he was using the forklifts and we were like, oh shit, we need that too for sure. You know,
Keep an
we
eye
use
on
that all the time.
Keep an eye on Facebook Marketplace. People always selling them attachments. That's around here, but
Yeah. We bought it when it was Bobcat's 50th year anniversary, and they were offering 0% interest. We didn't even have to put any money down. That's how we got the Bobcat. So, but, you know, and it's been paid off for a long time. But it was either buy an earth mover or just sell this land because we're on a rock mountain. We couldn't even have like a little Kubota tractor. That would, and this is a mountain.
yeah.
You know, this is not a valley. It's a mountain.
Let me tell you something. Be very, 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 very careful with that auger. The hole digger, the auger. And I'll tell you why. I worked with a guy that had
It's going to be a bad story. This is going to be a bad story.
It's a very bad story.
It almost happened to my husband. I know what the story is. Yeah.
An auger, you know,
it swings that
a drill press, if your sleeve or whatever gets held into it, can mess you up. And you're not scared. I'm scared of routers, chainsaws, table saws. There's certain tools I'm scared of, and I'll use them, but I never thought about an auger. And this friend of mine that I worked with, he had two daughters that were twins, and I knew about, you know, because you work with a guy and you hear about their kids growing up, blah blah blah. Twin girls, and they were in their 20s. They're very pretty and long hair. One of them was using an auger with her boyfriend. They're putting a fence up, and her hair got caught in it, and it tore her entire scalp off, ears and everything. Yeah, like right now. And when I heard about it, I said, well, could they save the tissue and sew it back on or something? They said, no, it was, you know. So now to this day, she has to wear a wig, fake ears. She got married and got pregnant.
Died. I mean, it could have killed her.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. She got married. She had a kid and everything, but there's, you know, it's two girls. They're identical. But one of them had everything completely torn. I mean, and just like right now it happened.
Yeah.
And man, it was
that farm equipment, wood shop equipment. When I took wood shop, there was a guy that had lost 3 of his fingers from a table saw. And he was still at wood shop, and I was like, "Fuck, man, that guy's diehard." You know, he's like, "Yeah, I don't drink and play with work the power tools anymore." I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably a good idea."
Right now, I have all that stuff. I have a complete wood shop. I've got everything you could imagine.
Me too. I'm an avid woodworker. I love woodwork. It's awesome.
Planers, drill press, bandsaw, all that stuff. I got all this. Of course, I've got to move the Corvette out of the garage to pull these machines out because everything's piled in there. It's like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. You know what I mean? Everything's piled up in there. But I'm still, you know, and I worked for a company that safety was like, they brainwashed me in safety, you know, as far as safety glasses, safety shoes. All that stuff. They, 35 years of being there, they brainwashed me. Thank God I still got everything.
Oh yeah, I wear safety glasses when I'm doing woodworking, and I have guides for my table saw. You got to have a good, healthy fear for things. That's like it's a reference thing, you know. It's a realize this shit could take your fingers off.
Yeah. As soon as you get comfortable with.
And the bad thing is, I'm here all by myself on 2 acres.
Right, that's dangerous.
If I go out to my garage and do something stupid, I always try to make sure my phone is near me, just because if something dumb happens that I'm not expecting, that maybe I can call 911 or something, you know, and get
You maybe
somebody
need to
over
get
here.
one of those bracelets, you know, one of those life alerts or something, you
Right.
know.
I'm falling.
I'm
I cut
falling,
my hand off and I can't
I
get
know
up.
I hate to say it, but you are alone. You should have something because nowadays there's so many things. You could wear a necklace or a bracelet. It doesn't have to be life alert, but you certainly could have something. Shit, they probably got cool ones that are copper or something, you know. You could look really cool. Actually, there's one I seen that I think we should all have, and you can donate. You can get them for donation. It actually wouldn't help you in this situation, but it's a different kind of bracelet that says allergic to remdesivir. What the
Right.
hell? It's outside. And 2 other things.
And she's out of here.
Get in, come on. How? Scaring the crap out of me. Banging against the house. All these crazy shepherds.
You got a Bigfoot out there.
What's up, Smiles? Why? No, they were banging against the wall of it. But yeah, I forget who the company is. Oh, you know what? I think it was from that gal that was on Patriots with Grit, Gail. Very young whistleblower, walked away from the medical field, and she was really good. She was on last week, I think on Monday with those guys. And she sold her house in California. Her husband and her walked away from their job and bought an RV. What they do is they travel the country, and and she's gathering evidence. And I think it was through her organization that I heard the bracelets. That's why I went into all that, because I don't have it. I gotta search it down anymore. I think I closed the tab, but I did like the idea of, because a lot of us don't want to have to go to the hospital, but if we did end up having to go to the hospital, it would be good to have that bracelet on. Don't you fucking give me remdesivir, you motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would be a smart thing for me to do, but I'm not a smart person, so I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, once they hit you with that stuff, you're done.
I do know one lady that survived it in the height of it when Cuomo was killing all those people and stuff. And I couldn't believe she got off it, man. She was on that ventilator for 40-something days. And we were all praying for her. She did survive it. But yeah, it definitely has killed a lot of people. The cat opened the doggy door. I got to go close it. He couldn't come in with all the fucking dogs. I had to go let him in. Look out. Look. Zoo in here. It's a damn zoo in here. Oh my God. Oh. You know, Cat?
That would be a great album. The Cat Opened the Doggy Door.
The cat did. Well, actually, it is a kitty door. It's one of those little ones. But we have little dogs, too. So the little dogs, they can go through those. You don't have any animals, Yorga? Or you do have a cat, don't you? You have a cat, don't you?
I've got an
black
18-pound tuxedo cat named Claude.
Fat ass cat. Fat.
Yeah, he's around here somewhere. He's a black demon. He kills rabbits.
He's a demon.
He killed a hawk. He killed 2 squirrels, 2 cardinals, and a bunch of little mice and stuff like that. And he brings them all up to my porch like, "Hey, Dad, look what I did."
They bring you bread.
No, actually, one cat used to do that.
What do you want, Wrigley? Say hi. You say hi. You smiling. What do you want?
What's a fine-looking hand?
She smiles. She's got all smiles.
Yep, I see that.
Oh, so funny. Oh, I should show you something funny. Get out of here, fucker. I should share something funny with you guys. I sent this to Eric today. This is pretty funny, Chuck. I think you guys will like this. This is, so my daughter this was a couple years ago, and she was taking my place as HR at our business, you know.
Yeah.
So she do the hiring, and she sets up things, and we do performance evaluations and all this shit. Okay. Well, oh wait, that's not it. Here was her. She made this video of herself one day when she. Let me forward this to you. When she got into her daddy's office. And I just think you'll really wait. What's your
You sending it on here or email?
Oh, I got to do it in an email, I think, because it's an attachment. I don't know how else to do it. What's your first couple letters of your email? I don't know if I have your email in here. Chuck or something?
Yeah, one is the renewed thoughts. That's,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think I have that one. Yeah, I got that one. There it is. Okay, I'm going to send this one right now. It's only 30 seconds. It's quick, but it's funny. It's just funny, and I think everybody will like it. And it just shows, you know, wait, did I send this right? How this girl was raised, I guess. I don't know. She's just, I don't want to give away the surprise about it because there's a little appearance by somebody. Well, there's no appearance, but there's like a mention of somebody. It's just kind of funny. I wanted to share it. I think she did it 3 years ago or something, 3 or 4 years ago. Who's eating? Oh, Yorga's eating? Is that why your camera's off, Yorga? I thought you were smoking.
I made steaks. I
I
made steaks on the grill earlier. That might be what.
I'm hearing steaks being eaten. Damn.
That.
Yep, this. Can't hear it very well, but.
You're done. You're done.
Let me see if I can turn it up. That's all the way up.
Fired.
There it is. That's better.
I see you didn't think the word would get back to me.
It's a shitty sound, I think.
You
That's
can't
why.
sit with us. To the left, pick up your final check, it's to the. I heard that you were talking shit and getting on with.
Anyway, that was it. I like the Trump intro. That was my favorite part, you know. She's like, yep, here I go. She's funny.
You guys get along well, or?
Yeah, real well. I'm taking her out tomorrow, and I'm gonna hang out with her at her new place. And yeah, she's 24 now, so that was when she was 21 a couple years ago.
Did you say you were still trying to get them all to build up there around you or whatever, and they want their own, or?
No, I not to build their own, but I mean, like, no, my daughter's going to travel the world. She's already been to Ecuador and Galapagos Islands, and she wants out of here, you know. She wants to be out of here. Thank you, Be Happy. Yeah, she wants to be out of here. You want to see some animals? But, see, I'll show you some animals. They're there. There's 2 more. There they are. 3 big dogs. Yeah, she's a great kid. She works with her dad. She's why I don't have to work at the business anymore, because now she understands so much better too. All the things that I used to bitch about. Oh, Mom, I so get it now, especially things about her dad, which I, was always very respectful to. Well, I don't want to say always, like I didn't respect him. Of course I was disrespectful sometimes, I'm sure, but like I walked away, it was like marriage business, because something had to give. And, I didn't need to be there. It was just too intense with our kids there. 2 teenagers in a business with a husband and a wife. And it was just too much, It was too much. And a lot of other people and their drama too. That's what is always is it's not necessarily the family having problems, but other people have their dramas and bring it in, and you got to deal with it. You can't just say, don't bring your drama here. We're humans and we don't do that, but it affects everybody, there's a lot of, so we take care of each other anyways. I'm still kind of involved. I spoil the girls. Like I give them a salve and I hook them up at Christmas time. They know who I am because I'm not stupid, and I wasn't going to just like exit stage left. Something happens to my husband, they'd be like, well, who the fuck is this lady? Plus he works with a lot of young, beautiful women. I should show you a picture of these women that he works with too. It's like, not that I'm worried about it at all, but they are all, a lot of them are young 20-year-olds, it's college town. You think women over it, middle-aged women don't understand what that means? When you live in a college town and guys are be looking at young women all the fucking time. They're like, oh yeah, it's college town. 20-year-olds all the time. Yeah, we know what that means.
Yeah, like it don't even affect them because they're used to seeing it.
I don't know. The eyes of a man are never satisfied. Ain't it?
Or they're tempted. Keith Richards said the eyes are the whore of all your senses. So if I was in a college town full of young college women, I'd probably be in jail, right? I've already got the shirt for it.
Yeah, I got a shirt similar to that from Stitch Fix, and it has a hoodie on it. My husband told me I looked like the Hamburglar when I wore it. I was like, yeah, I guess so. It's kind of cool though. I like it. It's really soft, and I like the stripes, But I like it. But I like it. Yeah, the college town, but it's just it's like a mini San Francisco here. And look at San Francisco right now. It's a shithole. I've watched this town go down. It used to be a nice place to be. Humboldt County, I really thought they would stand up to any kind of what we went through the last 3 years, but they all bent over. These are not the same people that were here when I moved here. These are infiltrators. Hey, Benjamin. Somebody give Benjamin some coffee. He's tired. He just woke up. He probably doesn't have the ability to do it. Get him a cup right away, please. I'm going to start I'm doing a new project. I don't know if you saw my video. It was only a couple minutes long, but I did it on Hilltop Workshops. I'm doing aquaponics, a little aquaponics thing. Yeah. I have this little goldfish pond out here. It's always been here. It has a small leak in it, not super big, and so then I bought a rain barrel for it and just 2 little tubs and all this rock and shit. And so I'll start that. That'll be like a fun project when I'm not ranting and bitching about the criminals in my county.
I got a small leak in my pond, baby. Yeah, I can make a song out of anything.
Well, okay. It doesn't mean it's going to be good, though. I used to love to watch.
It might leak into somebody else's pond.
You know what, Yorga? I know what we should do. What? Oh my gosh, I totally know what we should do. That show. Frick, you guys know which one. with the 4 comedians on at a time, and they improv.
Oh my God, I could do that. I know what you're talking
We
about.
can do that. Let's do that. Let's do it.
What was that called?
Oh my gosh, what is the name of that show?
Is it
With the
not
black
what's my?
guy
Is
and the
it what's
other-
my? Is it what's my line or
What's my
Yes.
line?
What's my line, Yorga?
Yeah.
That would be
Oh, I'm
so
in.
fun.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah, you gotta be there.
Oh,
We
I'm
gotta
in.
do it.
Big time.
I
What's
mean,
my line?
you know,
Hey, man.
there's limits to things that we could do. Right on,
There
Indy.
is no limits to what we can do.
Well, that's true because we have our cameras on, but like, you know, because sometimes you have to get up and do a jig or something. You know what I'm saying? You can't
I
just.
can do a jig.
I could do a jig too. I
I
mean,
bet you can, baby.
thunderstorms. Oh, is there thunderstorms over there? Yeah. What's my line? We need like the questions. We need like the cards. What'd you say? I missed a funny. I missed a funny, baby. I don't know what.
They would give them, and I don't believe that show was completely off the cuff.
Right, I know. Sometimes I didn't either. I'm like, oh, too good, too good. But
Yeah,
oh,
it
my
was too good.
favorite one was when I remember it was this white guy, and he was like, his hair was like greased back, like he's like, you know, Happy Days times, right? And he's got this like black and white shirt on, and they give him a line, and he's got to like pull over. He's got to pull over one of the guys, and it was the black guy. He was really funny. And like
Wayne Brady.
Yeah, thank you. Wayne Brady. So he gets Wayne Brady. I mean, he gets a pullover. I mean, he pulls him out of the cop car, and he just immediately starts beating the hell out of him. It was the first thing that came to mind. Oh, I'm going to pull him over. He's black. Not that that's funny, but I
No,
was
it
just
is
like,
funny.
that's the south side. I mean, in reality, right? But that was so damn funny just because it was like, oh shit. And that was in the 90s or the 2000s. What do you call the 2000s? I don't know. Hi, Tracy. But
Yeah. What's my
and
line?
I like Drew Carey was on it too. He was funny.
I'm in.
Yeah, we should do that. We need to come up with the what's your line? I wonder if they have that game in a board game fashion.
They might have it online. I mean, somebody I was doing a live stream with lately, they were doing like a trivia thing where they could bring up a question and everybody
Peanut
was
House?
A, B, C, D. You
Uh-huh.
know, it could be something like that. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, that would be fun to do. Yeah. What's my line? You know what's a game my family plays that's kind of fun? And I don't know if they have an online one, but they used to be paper. And then they came out with a digital one. We used to play a game called Catchphrase.
The last 2 years you've been winning.
Super easy one because Catchphrase is just verbal. And you have to describe a word. You get a word and you have to describe it. And then but you can't say sounds like or how many syllables are in it or anything like that, you know. And that's a fun game. But like Pictionary and all those games were fun too.
Hey, I bet you I can top you on that one. Have you ever played Strip Marbles? I have.
No.
I have. And my wife always lost. She'd be naked shooting marbles, man. And I was like, this is great.
Oh,
This is the
Margo, I
greatest
should
thing.
not expect you to go downhill like that so quickly.
No, I didn't. I
I
wasn't
know
going
it's
downhill.
possible.
It was great.
Like, I know it was possible, but like, we're not fucking playing strip marbles, Yorga. Come on. I mean,
No, I know. I'm just telling you, I have. I always loved marbles, and I made this table that was just like a square table that had edges on it out of wood, had a piece of Berber carpet on it. I took a grill top and stuck it down and took a magic marker and went around. So we had a circle And how you play marbles is you pick out certain marbles that are yours and certain marbles that are hers, and we put them in the middle. And and you have a shooter, and if I knock her marbles out, then I get to keep them. You know, that was the thing. You get to keep. Everybody had a marble collection, and you get to keep them. You know, and then one night we had a couple of drinks and said, let's do it for clothing. And man, I won like a bitch every single time. And next thing I know, she's freaking naked, man.
Oh, Yorga.
No, it's true. You had to be. Well, I'm glad you weren't there, but
see if
I'm glad I was.
See if you guys. See if you guys can hear this.
Okay. I didn't really hear.
You drag and drop. I didn't remember if it said anything or not. He reached over and grabbed my computer off his desktop and dropped it in the trash, and it showed the whole computer disappear.
Oh. Yeah, I did see that. I just didn't get it.
Did you wipe it with a cloth?
Did you smash it with a sledgehammer? That's totally cool. What difference does it make?
That's totally right. What difference does it make? It's totally fucking fine.
Right.
Yeah, that's Hillary's favorite words at this point. What difference?
Oh, I saw that live. I'll never forget that. I sure hope that you know who nails her ass to the wall.
At the end of the day, she's going to hell. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what they do judicially to her. When she finally croaks, which
she ain't even driving
in the next 10 years, she's going to hell, man.
She ain't even driving the bus. She ain't even driving the bus going to hell. They're gonna have her strapped across the
hood. Oh, excuse me.
And there's a special place just for her.
Here, see if y'all hear this. I don't remember how bad it was.
People struggle with this common type of human being. Do-nothing bitches are vampires of other people's joy. Instead of living authentically, they feed off masking their true selves, doing nothing and criticizing others who actually put themselves out there. Do-nothing bitches can be highly manipulative. So here are some gold standard clapbacks when a do-nothing bitch starts with their bullshit. When they start to claim you're too much, offer them a mirror and tell them to look for less. Draw a diagram that identifies where your business is and where their business is to visually show them they're in the wrong area. Remind them of the ancient proverb, to fuck around is to find out. And the more they fuck around, the more they're going to find out. So the next time you encounter a do-nothing bitch, hold your head high and know their obsession with you is masking their jealousy of your confidence, your freedom in your self-expression, and most importantly, your authenticity. And also, fuck them. They're toxic.
I laughed my ass off when I saw that earlier.
That was funny. Too bad she looked like that twat Dylan Mulvaney, though.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I thought, too. It did look like that.
I was like,
weirdo.
Oh, no. This is that fucking weirdo. Yeah. Too bad. But. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah. That's about right.
I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, and if there was a kid that was like that Dylan Mulvaney, I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound redneck, but he would have got beat up a lot.
Yeah, I think the ass I do it a lot.
You know what I mean? Like a lot. Until he didn't do that shit no more. You know it's true.
I know it's true. I'll be right back.
I was going to show a Malcolm X clip, but he says Jew too much, so I don't know. Well, that'd get me in trouble.
He said what about Jews?
He just says the J-E-W a lot.
Well, I'm a Messianic Jew. You all guys know that, right?
So that don't mean you're a Khazarian Jew.
No. And I've explained this before. I believe in the Old Testament and the New Testament, and that's it. I was not born a Jew. I was not grown up as a Jew. Nobody told me to be a Jew. What did it say it now? You associate as this, that, or the other. I associate as a Messianic Jew, a Jew that believes in Jesus Christ, because I believe in the entire Bible, and that's what I mean by that.
Your Old Testament's a lot better. The King James, that's just stuff that they adapted so they could add sin and not be a sin. Basically, King James thought he was above what.
I agree. So, I have to catch a little bit of hell every now and then. It's like, you're a Jew. No, I can associate to be a Copper Spaniel if I want right now. You know what I mean? Or a woman or a Superman or whatever the hell I want. I associate as a Messianic Jew, a person that believes in the entire Bible. And that's what I mean by that. So, and I'm okay if there's anti-Jew stuff out there, whatever. Again, I was not born into, and the Jewish people are a race, believe it or not. I was not born into that race. I was not. I was a Presbyterian. I was a Baptist. I was a Pentecostal until finally I got rid of all the denominations. I read the Bible 3 times, and I claim that, or I associate, or I feel like I'm a Messianic Jew. So whoever
we call guys like you
with that, then I don't care.
We call guys like you Jews for Jesus. That's what we always call
that's
guys
exactly
like
it. You see that? What I wear around my neck every single day.
Right on, man.
I'm sorry.
Because, and let me say one more thing. There's a lot of Christian churches that all they preach is the New Testament.
Yeah.
That's only half the story, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to look at the whole thing, and that's how, I piss off a lot of people telling them, how I feel and how I relate or how I associate or how I,
The
whatever.
Khazarians are the ones that bring the bad name. That's the banker and the evil ones and all that. That's not that you're atypical.
Oh, there was plenty of terrible Jews in the Old Testament and the New Testament, But
sure.
If I had to pick a denomination, that's what I say I am. And if nobody else likes it, I don't give a damn. I just don't.
Yeah,
we should all be respectful as long as we're not trying to hurt each other or each other's kids. It shouldn't matter how we worship or don't worship or choose to worship. It doesn't matter to me. Sometimes when people tell me, oh yeah, I'm a Christian too, it's like, oh, well, that's too bad. Show me, don't tell me. How about that? You know what I mean? Just let your yes be yes and your no be no. How about that? How about
if you only read the New Testament, you've built a house that doesn't have a foundation, and the Old Testament is the foundation. And yes, it's forced. Yes, it's wrong. Yes, it's devastating. But it's the foundation of the house of the New Testament. And I believe in both.
It's also history and it legitimately lines up. But I think Wyatt was going to say something.
I'm sorry.
No,
he left. Oh, I thought he was. No, don't be sorry. I just thought he was.
Some people just genuinely hate Jews. And
I got one time I was at a restaurant with a Patriot group, and they were talking about the Jesuits, and we started to talk about Israel, and there was some real vitriol getting thrown around, and I just stated, those who will bless Israel will be blessed, and those who will curse Israel will be cursed. And my friend got up and just like laughed in my face and said, huh, you're too dogmatic. And he walked out, and I like, it was kind of jarring for me. And I came home and I was like,
He was not educated, is the thing. He's not educated.
But he was so much more educated than me, Yorga. You don't know how much more educated he is than me.
But he didn't study what he needed to be studying because he's not. I mean, the Bible was there for a reason, and I don't mean to be preachy, and I'm not going to get preachy, but all you have to do is read it. And like I've said before, the King James Version, I can't understand that. These, thous, thine, this.
Right.
I had to get a teen Bible that speaks to me like, hey, Gary, it's like this. You know, Really,
right
I
on.
did, because
For real. I think that's great. Yeah, good for you.
I had to dumb it down. I had to dumb it down, and I read it 3 times. That does not make me an expert. Does not make me anything. It's all got to do with my soul and my heart, and nobody else's. And I went looking for God, and I found Him right there in that book. And
was this recently in the last couple of years? I'm just curious. Was this recently in the last couple of years?
No, it was. It was the late 90s.
Okay, cool.
My son had a problem, and he ended up dying in 1999. And I went looking for God. Actually, before that, 3 years before he died. And from reading that book 3 times, I found God. If you go look for Him, if you honestly, earnestly go look for God,
that's right,
you will find Him. And I did. And I did. And I'm not trying to preach the Messianic Jew thing or anything like that. I'm not.
Well, you might be, but that's okay. You can do whatever.
No, I'm not. But denominations
but if you were, it would be okay.
denominations were pissing me off, man. Baptist, Methodist, and when I was going through this problem with my son, I had I had Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, Baptists, Pentecostals. Everybody was reaching at me, and it was like this turmoil of what, and I just had to go to the book myself, figure it out on my own, and look for God, and I found him. I found him.
Yeah.
Okay?
You know, Yorga, that Mormons don't like Halloween because they don't think it's right. The idea of somebody coming to your door and knocking on it and expecting something.
I've had Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses, and first of all, I want to say that they are some of the finest people I've ever met in my life, as far as people go.
Yeah.
They're some of the nicest and finest people. They are confused. Jehovah's Witnesses, and I've read, here's another thing y'all understand about me. I read through their entire doctrine. I read through the Mormons' entire doctrine. This is why, during my search to find God, and I'm literally like scratching up a wall, I read everything they had. The Mormons, and again, they're some of the finest people you ever meet in your life. But at the end of the Christian Bible, it says, at the very end, it says, if you add to this or take away from, thank you, Chuck, you're in deep doo-doo. And that's what they did. They came up with a whole nother book, a whole nother thing. The Jehovah's Witnesses, I read through all their stuff. I'm really on a quest to find God, okay?
Yeah.
Stuff they said was like, Jesus wasn't on a cross, he was on a pole. And I'm like, and I've got these people coming to my door, and I'm like, and I knew more about their own doctrine than they knew. And I said, what difference does it make? What if they shot him with a gun? It doesn't matter. He lost his life for us, and they're like, well, he was on a pole, he wasn't on a cross. What damn difference does it make, And they went up with all kinds of stuff, and I shot them down. It was like the door they didn't want to knock on was mine, because I already knew.
That's what I've seen about the two of them. The Jehovah's Witness and the Mormons both are relentless about harassing you, coming to your door, knocking.
And well, the thing about Mormons, did you know this? Let me tell you something. And you can ask any Mormon. At the end of your life, will you end up owning your own planet and be the god of your own planet? And they always put their head down and go, yeah. You're going to be the god of your own planet? Shit, I'd ride around on a bicycle all day long if I thought I was going to be the god of my own planet. You know what I mean? Shit, give me a bicycle. I'll do that shit. They literally, it's in their doctrine. When they die, they get a planet somewhere, and they are the god of that planet. What? There's only one God. You know, so they're both, I hate to say this, I do, they're both cults. They're both American cults. And now they're finding in the Jehovah's Witnesses a whole lot of
Yeah, because even here, movement.
Harvey Weinstein.
We know.
Yeah.
The hell, guys, let's talk in the back. I'm going to go ahead and call it 3 hours. We'll
All right,
talk in the back room.
Okay, good
I'm
night,
sorry,
everybody.
I didn't mean to ruin your stream, Chucky baby.
No, you ain't ruined it. I
It went with 3 hours, honey.
Good night, everybody.
Love you, chat. Love y'all very much. Good night.
Hang out, D. And I'm not
I
driving.
got curfew. I will.
All right, good night. It
Good night,
does say
y'all.
that. Jay Coleman, it does say that in the Book of Mormon. I'm sorry. I hate to disagree with you, but it does. Anyway, love you all.